Welcome back to the Ponytails Podcast, everyone. I am Andres Gamboa, your host. If this is your first time, you're new. We interview people who sold books for Southwestern Advantage, which is a company that recruits college kids to go sell books door to door for like 80 hours a week for 12 weeks of the summer. And I did that, and all my guests did that. So, of course, some crazy stories are going to come from that, and some funny ones. So I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of them today. Buckle up; it's going to be good. I am with Pasha Aleabov. Boom, I nailed it. Let's go. He's going to tell me about how I nailed it. Aleabov. He's going to be like, oh, that's just like how my mom says it. Aleabov. Aleabov. Anyway, Pasha is here with me today. He's a buddy of mine, so sorry if this seems unprofessional, but we're just a relaxed podcast. He sold for 12 summers. That tall drink of water did, and he's from Moldova, born in Moldova in Chisinau, and he was part of the Highlanders organization from 2010 through 2021. He went to Moldova State University. He is one of the nicest human beings I've ever met, and of course, one of the most impressive human beings I've ever met. So I'm excited. I've been wanting to have Pasha on the show for a long, long time. He currently does IT sales liaison, the role out there at Southwestern Advantage, where he basically helps the entire sales force not have fuck ups in their tech stuff. And we'll hear about that probably here a little bit later too. His favorite scroll from Og Mandino is number 1, Today I Begin a New Life. And I think you're the Pasha, by the way, you're the first person that's ever had that, just so you know. So there you go. So I'm excited, guys. This is going to be a phenomenal episode from a standpoint of, if you like the ones that are full of fun stories and full of really like crazy rides and inspiration and just funny, this is one of those. So buckle up for this one. We'll see you. A quick word from our partners here on the show, and we'll be back with Pasha.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? You need to burn that shirt seriously. Like it
What?
doesn't fit you at all.
How dare you? How dare you talk shit about my
Oh my
Barcelona?
gosh.
This
I
right
will
here.
walk tall among men and they will know me not. For today I'm a new man with a new life.
That's right. Which means you're
This is
now a
the
Barca
line.
fan.
This is the line that I like the best out of that like the first scroll. I read the
Wow.
scroll just for that one line.
Read it again. Read it. Do you still have it open? Do you still have it? Or do you have it memorized?
Yeah, I know, I know. I will walk tall among men, and they will know me not. For today I'm a new man with a new life.
Damn.
Yeah, take this shirt off, dude.
Is that what you thought when you landed in America for the first time after committing to come sell books door to door? Were you like, oh boy, here we go, America? What
Dude,
was?
well, you probably don't know this part of the story, but you know my manager George that we met in.
Yeah,
You met him
we
and
love
Ellie
George.
in.
They're
Yeah,
great.
George is awesome for sure. So I landed in. I was recruited on the 25th of May of 2010.
Oh shit! When
So
do you guys leave? When did Moldova?
so George left on the 27th of May. We had like a 1.5 PCs or trainings, whatever you want to call them. So he gives me the sales talk. He gives me the training manual. He's like, "Good luck. I will see you." Not even in sales school. He goes like, "I will see you on the field."
Oh good.
So one thing that you probably didn't know either, Andres, is the fact that I couldn't speak any English at all. Zero, nada. I could say yes, no, and I can smile. That's it.
Wow,
And I'm not exaggerating.
bro, that's crazy. You can speak so
Yeah.
well.
Well, still there is an accent, and still there is a lot of improvement that can be done. But yes, we can at least have a conversation, you
Yeah, we
know?
can do a whole podcast now. Look at that.
Exactly, exactly. So I land in the States, and my flight got in a day earlier, well, a few hours earlier than it should have. So I'm calling the company, and I was like, Pavel, Moldova, America. Eh, And it took me forever to explain that, hey, can somebody come and pick me up at the airport? So there is this B manager that comes and picks me up at the airport, and he's rushing to the hotel because, everybody arrives the next day. So I remember getting into this hotel room, and us Eastern Europeans were very, I don't want to say frugal, but we're very careful with money.
Sure.
Money is a very sensitive topic in our countries. You're from Colombia, you know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. So nobody wants to pay $80 a night for a room at the hotel. So they had to cramp like, I don't know, 8 people probably, because there were four and other people like myself getting in for some reason earlier. So they had to cramp. We had to sleep like 8 people in the hotel room, on the floor and stuff. Like it's actually interesting because that guy who picked me up, he offered his spot for me to sleep on the bed, and I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm gonna be sleeping on the floor, you know. So it was me, him, and two more guys, and there were a few managers sleeping. Like it was like a mixture between first years and managers. And I was like, oh yeah, gosh, what a great, you know, kind of welcome meeting here in the States. And I was the most horrible first year you can think of in sales school. I'm not kidding. I was bad.
Walking everywhere, not learning anything, flirting
Oh,
with all the
dude.
girls.
Yep. E- Everything you can think of that the first year can mess up in sales school, that was me. I'm not kidding. Like everything. Doesn't know
Jeez.
my. Of course, who cares? George gave me his sales, like the sales talk. I was like, dude, like I'm not gonna follow this crap. Like I'm way better than, like I can figure it out with no English, right?
Right.
And
No
so
experience.
no sales talk, no experience,
No cultural awareness.
absolutely zero. And
So the only thing you got to go on is like movies. You're like, this
yeah,
is just from Die Hard. I can do
and
it's the same.
yeah, and like let's be real, like Southwestern girl, like book girls and book guys, both of them, like they're pretty good looking. Like
Yeah. Look at you.
everybody's, yeah, and look at yourself, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
stop.
yeah, yeah.
Stop.
But then, well, we're gonna exclude a couple of people, but
Yeah.
exceptions are everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We're not saying listen, out of 100 people, odds are one of them, like the percentage of one of them, like the probability of one of them being ugly is 100%.
yeah,
And there's
exactly,
thousands of book kids. So, some
exactly,
exceptions are made.
exactly. So,
And
like,
you know who you are.
yeah, and I'm a 21-year-old college kid, right? A male college student from Eastern Europe. Out of all the scenes, women were definitely one of them at that time. So it was a very, very difficult to not talk to, or at least practice the sales talk with
Oh,
good
sure.
looking ladies. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Oh, yeah. I
Uh
mean,
huh.
it's crazy because you put college kids in that scenario and you're like, and also you're in a place where like nobody knows who you are. Nobody's going to know who you are. You could easily just go home and be like, who cares? So you feel more emblazoned. I mean, you're bold
Yep.
enough to fly to America on zero English to sell books
Yeah.
door to door. So anyway, all right. So that was how you got. How did you get recruited in the first place?
So back in Eastern Europe, we have what they call the work and travel program. It's a department state sponsored J1 program. Basically, they bring students to the States so they can work throughout the summer doing regular jobs, not necessarily Southwestern, right? People have options of like lifeguarding, housekeeping, waitressing, all the summer jobs.
Really?
So the idea was, well, actually, the idea of J1 program, culture exchange program, is to help people from different countries all over the world fly to the US, get familiar with the culture, get familiar with how things are done, including business in the US, learn the language, and take that back to their home countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, out of all the jobs that were available, um, it was my best buddy. He's been a busser and a waiter for 2 summers in a row, in 2008 and 2009 in North Carolina. So he was like, it was like May, when he goes like, "What are you planning on doing this summer?" We went for a walk, and he's like, "Let's go with me to the States." And I'm like, "Dude, A, I don't speak English. B, I don't have $4,500 to invest up front for visas and flights and
Right.
all that good jazz. And C, I'm probably gonna work as a children, like a camp counselor at a children's camp, because I've been doing that for the last 2 summers, and I've been a part of the children's camp since I was 8. So that's probably what I'm gonna do." And he goes like, "Well, come and check it out. See what jobs are available, see what you like. If there is anything that might interest you, you might apply," and da 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 da. So
And
I went to that
excuse
info.
me.
So let me finish that up,
Oh,
because
sorry,
I
I'm
went to
coughing.
that info session, and I see this dude, tall, good looking, super confident, um, British guy, Pierce Bambridge, delivering this info session, right, about books. And I looked at this, and I'm like, dude, straight commission. So basically, you get paid for what you are putting in. Heck yeah. B, it's in the States. It's not easy. It's door to door, right? And I'm gonna, like, I did a quick math in my head, because my background is computer science and math. And I was like, I will speak with at least 2,000 to 3,000 people in a summer. There is no better way you can improve your communication skills, and specifically English. And number three, dude, this is like there is, sky is the limit, right? And I kind of like the books. And then I start talking to George, and I probably understood, Andres, about 40 to 50% of what has been said in the info session.
Oh, you froze.
No accent, confident, like,
Oh, you're
yeah.
back. You're back.
What was the last?
You froze. You
Okay.
said you understood 40 to 50%.
Yeah, and 40 to 50% of the presentation. And then talking to George, at the beginning, I thought he is an American. But then I've seen his golden chain, and I've seen his golden ring, and I was like, "Oh no, that's Moldovan." And we started talking to him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm from Moldova," and he was super laid back and chill. I mean, you've met George,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Dude, if I can have it even half of the English he has by the end of the summer, it's gonna be worth it." So I had to borrow money from friends and family to even get to the States,
You raised
right?
the money?
Oh yeah, yeah. I literally had one night to come up with $4,500, and that's probably was the
How?
first time when I got on the phone and I start calling. I thought that I would have to call at least 200 people to find money, borrow like from different friends, and I was lucky enough that three of my friends, each of them borrowed like $300 each. My dad borrowed me like, I think, 2.5 grand, and my relatives and like my mother-in-law, they came up with another like $1,500 or so. So yeah, and to be honest, like I was calling nonstop, and it was a good thing to see like who are your true friends are. So I was like, all right, let's see who actually is gonna be willing to help when I actually do need help, because that's one thing I hate a owing somebody to someone, something to anyone, and b asking for any type of help.
Yeah, I know.
Uh, yeah. So yeah.
So wow. Okay, so first of all, hang on. That's crazy. That's crazy. We've had European students on here before, and some of them had the money saved up, and this is a common theme that like a lot of the book kids that come from Europe, this is like we had to find the money because they didn't have the money. Like it's not they're not like rich mommies and daddies. Like part of the
Mm-hmm.
appeal is to go and come here to earn here, and so that's wild. You had that overnight. Now, to explain real quick, and I didn't mean to interrupt earlier. I was going to clarify. So J1 is you're referring to is the visa that you have to get
It's a type of visa, yeah.
for because some people don't even know that you guys come on visas. They think that you just show up. It's like, nah, bro.
We swim over the ocean, yeah.
Yeah, that's not how it works. You have
We
to
have
ask.
tunnels in the Atlantic.
Yeah, you have to ask permission, especially if you're from countries that the United States has not necessarily been fond of over the last 4 or 5 decades. And as a Colombian, I know. so
Yeah.
so that's wild. Okay, so this is beginning of May. You get the money overnight. Why? I mean, you mentioned the commission and the communication skills, but why is that important? Like, explain to me like Moldovan culture because I don't know. Like here, it makes sense where you're like, oh, you gotta get better communication skills and you gotta work for what you earn. Is that like how it is in Colombia? I mean, in Moldova, because in Colombia, that's not always the culture. Where did you get that from? Your parents or your culture, or what was it?
A couple of disclosures. You probably don't know that either, but I grew up in a very, 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 very poor household. To
Hmm.
your point, Andres, when we'll have like we'll eat meat and rice and veggies throughout majority of the year. The only time when we'll have meat, it will be just for holidays, like Christmas or Easter and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Like all I was wearing the same, literally the same clothes. It was a sports like jacket and pants from the ninth grade to 11th grade every single day. Like I had the one brand new pair of shoes because I had a side hustle that I was able to buy some cheap ass shoes to play soccer with my buddies
Hmm.
in the neighborhood. So 4.5 grand was a significant amount of money.
I mean,
Like
it's a lot of money even to an American family.
it's a lot.
To the average American family, that's I mean, you don't just if you if yeah, that's a lot of money. $1,000 is a lot to a modern American family, like the average. And we know this because we sold books, where you just say, "Hey, the books cost $1,000," and they're like, if you said $200, that was a lot to some families that we met. So if that's a lot to 4,500 is a lot to, and that's also in 2010, which even the inflation in
Correct.
the last decade's still been quite a bit. So we're talking about like it's probably the equivalent of like 6 grand now,
Hmm.
and that's a lot to any American. That's a fortune to a Moldovan.
Yeah. Yes. Correct. Correct.
Wow. So it'd be like asking your parents, "Hey, I need $30,000 today," like in America or something like that, right? I mean, it's or something similar. Oh, you froze again. Whoop, there you're back.
Yeah. Say it again.
It'd be like saying like you probably multiply by 10, right? You say it's like going to your parents and overnight being like, "I need $30,000 or I need $40,000."
Yeah. Pretty much. That's pretty much what happened. Yeah.
Ah,
So
damn.
like, and to justify to my mom, so my mom is an accountant by education, and she worked as like a CPA basically, and she managed like 200 people. Numbers speak a lot to her. So obviously, first thing when you come home and she's asking you how much you're gonna earn, and I tell her, I don't know, unknown. I might earn a lot. I might not earn anything at all. So that's the first red flag, right? And then she goes like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "I don't know. America, Nashville. That's my first, destination." She goes like, "Okay, I don't know anyone in Nashville. In fact, I don't know what the heck is Nashville and whatever." And so second red flag. And then she's like, "So who are you going with?" I was like, "Well, random 20 people. Do you know any of them?" I was like, "Nope." She goes like, "You are nuts. Why wouldn't you get a normal job?" And what she meant by normal job is being a lifeguard. She was like, "Why wouldn't you be a lifeguard? They get paid like, I don't know, $12 an hour or whatever, sitting on on the pedestal, whatever it's
Yeah.
called, like the chair, blowing their whistles and watching other people swim." And I was like, "Mom, I physically cannot sit on the same spot for 20 minutes. Do you want me to sit for 8 hours in the same spot? Hell no." And because of my swimming background, right? I swam twice a day, every day. I was like, there is no way I'm going to be a lifeguard. I want to be as far from the swimming pool as possible. And second thing I knew I'm not gonna do is the lifeguard, the housekeeping. Housekeeping is just logically did not make any sense to me. I was like, if I do housekeeping, there is zero skill that you develop. And
Yeah.
you probably know math and computer science people, they don't necessarily have the highest level of people skills and people
Sure.
awareness and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, have doing something as an engineer, as a IT person that can make you different from everybody else, it makes a humongous difference. Or at least that was my logic back then.
Dude, that's insane. So a couple, dude, so many things that are crazy about this. And just for people who are American who don't realize how fucking crazy this is. Okay, so first of all, you maybe I'm assuming here about your culture, but from in Colombia, the idea of like self-improvement like that at such a young age, even in America to have a kid think that far forward where you're like you're really seeing the opportunity for what it was. And I don't know, you could say that it was a really good presentation, but then again, you only understood about 40 to 50% of it. So in your head, something about you and your personality has had that where you're like, I want to be better. And that's amazing. For, I just found this for the record, just for, because we were talking about this, the annual Moldovan household income per capita. So this is Moldova annual household income per capita averages 2,700 US dollars. 2,700. You ask for your parent you ask your parents for almost twice that. Twice the average household income average in your country. So what is the US average household income, like 35,000? So that was literally like asking for your parents for about 70 $60,000 overnight is what you did. That's insane, dude.
Well, remember that very like it was different people helped me, right? Like I called different people and they helped me
Yeah, but
with
that's
little tiny
still
parts.
crazy. I mean, but that's so
Yeah,
crazy. I mean,
yeah,
someone
it's
gave you,
crazy.
if your friends gave you $300, even that, that's 11% of their annual income. So if they made about, like if they were in the United States and made $60,000, that's you're asking them still for like 5 grand
Yeah,
to an
yeah,
American.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
their $300 contribution. It was like 5 6 grand.
yeah,
That's insane. Any like
yeah.
holy shit, dude. That's wild. Oh, good for you. So, but the pressure that you must have been on when you came here to make that money back, like what was that like?
Woo! My ass was burning, dude. One thing
Yeah.
that
Holy shit.
I care a lot more than anything else is like if you give your word, or at least this is how I was raised, like in the circle of friends I had, is like if you say something as a man, you have to deliver it, regard like no matter what. And I told my friends, is like, hey, you give me those $300 each, whatever, I will give you those back when I'm back to Moldova. I promise you, like I will give you the money back. And I did not. It's like I burned all the bridges. The moment when I said that, I burned all the bridges. I knew that I will figure it out. There is no other way. So coming to the States and landing in Nashville and having all these people in sales school just jumping around and being crazy, and I look at this, I was like, I'm too cool for this shit. Like,
Oh shit. Which is
this
the
is
key?
this is like, nah, no.
Oh no.
Dude, we were standing so and two places I've been before coming to the States. It was like Ukraine and well, three. Okay, Ukraine, Russia, and Bulgaria to the seaside, right? So I'm standing in line at the breakfast in the hotel. Very not well traveled person, right? And this guy, you know how in the morning everybody in the line is like, "Hey, can I approach you? Can I practice with you?"
Yeah.
Right? So it's like intensity. And this is first day. I have no freaking clue what's going on, and I'm already tired of all this positiveness and like, "Oh, let's run there. Let's do that. Let's do that." And I'm like, "Hey, can I go and have a cigarette? And like, can you just leave me alone and let me chill?"
It's just the morning.
So yeah, it's like it's 5 a.m. Usually this is the time when I go to bed, and you want me to wake up? You know how in the morning people will jump, and what I'm talking right now about is first 2 days, because there was one moment that switched the trigger. So, um, people, you know how people will jump out of their beds in the morning and run to the cold shower?
Yeah.
The people, like the guy I was staying with, the manager, had to wake me up 4 times. First time 6:59 or 5:59. Second time when he got back from the shower. Third time before he left to have breakfast, and fourth time when he came back from breakfast. Like, I was horrible first year, so bad. I'm not
The
kidding
first
you.
year from hell, you were
Yeah, absolutely.
giving
If I
giving Moldovans a great name, just making them
Yeah,
proud.
it was bad. So I stayed in this line, and this guy turns around to me and he goes like, "Hey, can I approach you?" I was like, "Sure, whatever." Hey, so he approaches me, and you need to give the approach back. And I was like, "No, I'm getting my food." And he's like, "Oh, by the way," and you know how in the States, like you have what is it? The name? Like you have nicknames for different names. For example, um, what is the Richard is Dick, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And there are like different nicknames.
Bill,
So in the
William, yeah, yeah.
correct, and in the Czech Republic, the nickname for Jacob is Kuba,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So he turns around and he was like, "Oh, by the way, Kuba," and I was like, "Moldova," and I just kept on grabbing my food. Yeah, yeah. Anyways, but then I told you that one thing that really happened is then more. After I've
Oh,
seen Dan on the stage and I've seen him performing and I've seen him talking, I've heard him talking. This is actually the only speaker in sales school that I could mostly understand everything he said, just because the way he enunciates his words and the way he delivers it, it was awesome.
it's something to behold.
Yeah,
I mean, people love and hate Southwestern or whatever, but to watch Dan on stage was pretty wild.
it's a show. Dan
Yeah.
is a phenomenal speaker,
Hmm.
and he's even. It's funny because even with his incredible vocabulary, and you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right? Like he would
He's got words for
use
everything.
some, yeah. Even with those words, I will actually understand what he means.
Yeah, his communication skills are like world class.
It's a
And I'm
next
not,
level.
and that's not to say that, like, for example, I saw my brother do that speech this last, it was great. It was
Oh, it was
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was so
Danny
good.
killed it.
Danny crushed it. Yeah, but it's different. I'm not saying it's worse or better. It was just he did the speech differently and he crushed it. But the way that Dan Moore talks, there's something where it's like, I whatever you were trying to say to me, I heard the first time very clearly, very loudly. I, it's, it's, it's actually, it's, it's kind of like when you watch Messi play soccer. He just does it so easily that you just think it's easy. But then when you actually try to be that way, and people don't understand you or something, and you're like, what the hell did he do? How do you do that? It's so natural. You don't even notice it. Yeah. Pretty, you're right.
Yeah,
So you watch Dan and you're like, oh shit, this is for real.
yeah. I was like, this is actually really good. And the messages he was delivering, it was hitting the spot every single time. Like every day when he will be in sales school teaching.
Yeah.
And I think I was really blessed and lucky to be in sales school with. We were on campus in sales school. Whatever, I think it's like Trifecta or
Trevecca
Trevecca
University.
University. Yeah, I think that was the sales school, and we had awesome leaders that will, they were great. Pap and Dante, if they will ever listen to that, shout out to you guys and our DSL peers and DC and yeah, we just had some really good people in sales school and a lot of like um, what is his name? Dustin, uh, Dave, and Rory. They
Right.
started, I think back then they were just having the consulting up and running, and there were parts in sales school delivered by them. Like I remember, and I clearly remembered Rory's keynote speech about the the
Envelope and the little kid.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was amazing, and I think that's the sales school where the cards by Lester was filmed, like the cards, the card game
Yeah,
type of
the
deal. So like,
but was Lester the one that did that? Lester Crafton did that
yeah, I
with the
think
aces
so.
and jacks and
Yeah,
queens.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Wow,
That's that.
I thought that was KJ that did that.
Or
Somebody.
KJ, like the sales that were in that sales school, Andres, were unbelievable.
Yeah,
Those were like legendary people.
Aaron Schaefer was already there. He was doing
Yeah,
really cool stuff. Aaron Schaefer, shout out. Yeah, because my first sales school was 2012, and that was the last sales school where they all did it, and that was the best
yeah.
sales school I ever went to. It was
And literally every single
Lee.
part in sales school, yeah, Lee, every single part in sales school was done by a DSL.
Yeah,
Every single part.
yeah.
I was
And it
like,
was, and they all were
dang.
good. Even KJ, when he taught the dogology one, you were like, oh, that's when he taught like how to handle dogs. I don't know if you remember.
Oh my goodness.
So
It's
good,
one of, yeah, oh my gosh, so good.
so
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it's like how and with the dog on the line and
Yeah,
zing. Yeah, it's
yeah.
so good. Yeah, it's really cool stuff,
Yeah,
bro.
and
How? Okay, so
get, yeah.
let's move forward a little bit. What? First of all, where did you sell that first summer? Where'd you go?
I went to Memphis. Well, okay, little bit back to the trigger that happened.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. We skipped that. So sorry.
there
Keep going.
was I've seen Dan, and literally the next afternoon, or the same afternoon, our DSL announces a what they call approach contest.
Yes, yes.
So you get points for approaching people in sales school. Here is the prize. It's 2010, right? He's like, all right, who wins it gets an iPod Nano 4. It's a brand new iPod that just came out. Back in 2010, if you're Moldovan, you walk outside with white headphones in your ears, you're not the coolest kid on the block. You're the coolest kid in town. Okay?
Yeah,
Like Apple products were a elite product.
yeah.
It was an elite.
Yes, dude. Okay, real quick tangent story. This
Yes,
is
go.
just for people to understand it because people don't get it when they're from here. They just don't get how
Yes.
because everybody has an
Yes.
iPhone here. But if you have an iPhone, it's just this level of status. It's like when you wear Jordans. It's the same thing as people with like wearing Jordans or like that kind of stuff. But you know how Bree found my wife. You met Bree.
Yeah.
She found out how and why this is important to people in the funniest way. In Colombia, you know that Apple sticker that comes with like pretty much every Apple product you
Yep.
buy? If you the people would put that on their cars
Yep.
to demonstrate like you're driving this shitty Toyota Camry from 1985 or whatever and it's rusted, but you got an Apple sticker on that sucker, which means you got money. Like
Yep.
it's a big deal. So when you saw the iPod Nano, you were like, I mean, you could pay your family back with that.
I was like, dude, you want to say if I'm doing my practice and I actually do my job, I can make extra money for free? Let's fucking go. So I started like I was approaching just girls. I was practicing just with most good-looking girls in sales school. I was trying to turn my weakness into my strength, right? And the cool thing was like they will give 1 point for a first year, 2 points for a student manager, and 3 points for a suit or unknown person, somebody you don't know, right? So what I did on campus when the sales school, like when they dismiss you after sales school and you have the practices within the org, I was out. I would go to on campus and I'll approach people on campus and get 3 points every single time, like complete strangers. I'll be like, hey, can I approach you? Can I approach you? Literally. It's like, and they would be like, what? Sure, I guess. So, and they will give me points and stuff. So I remember I was approaching for so long that the last night when the recognition was for that specific contest, I was not even there. Like, I was still approaching people because I wanted to win. And the guy who won it, Peter, and I shout out to you, buddy, because that was a very classy act. Basically, what I did is like I went to the to my OL. I was like, hey, here is my points, 317, whatever. He was like, the guy who won it, he won it with like 170. I was like, yeah, I almost doubled him. He was like, what the hell have you been? You're never on time. I was like, well, is because I was working my ass off, right? And my peers back then, he said like, Pasha, here is the competition. If you um, do 180 demos your first 3 weeks, I will personally send you a new iPod to your place. And that night, this guy Peter actually came to me. He goes like, hey, I've heard you that you won. Here is the iPod. So he gave me his iPod. He was like, yeah, you
Wow.
won. I was like, Peter, this is a very classy thing. And I still remember that. He works for Microsoft now, back in Czech Republic. Shout out to you, buddy.
Now he doesn't want
It
an
was a
iPod.
very classy act from your side, which stayed for now what 13 years now.
That's
So I
crazy.
appreciate that. Yeah. So
Wow.
getting to the field, obviously having three approaches down pretty well. It was good first few days. No HQ, by the way. Had to knock for that. But and it's funny because you know how in the States you have like the door, especially in the South, you have that like a little crown on the door.
Yeah.
Dude, in Moldova they put those crowns for when people die. Like they give
You're
those
talking about like
crowns
the
to
wreaths. Like the
yes,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So when I was knocking for HQs, I thought that people were dead. Like I will knock on the door when somebody passed away. And then I figure out it's just a decoration. But I was like,
Like how many
dang,
people
this
are
is
dying here?
yeah, it's like, what is wrong with this area?
Bro, so wait, so you went to Memphis?
Yeah, so they sent me first to Arkansas for
Oof,
first 2 weeks.
brutal.
And actually, this is legit record up until I think this year. But in 2010, you can look it up. I think you know how every summer you have people telling you, like, oh, you chose the hottest weather to be out here.
Yeah.
This is the hottest summer we had in decades, right? We all know this is BS.
Yes. No.
But in 2010, it was actually true. 2010, it broke the record for the hottest summer in Arkansas. I remember my second week working in this neighborhood, 127 degrees outside with 87% humidity. That was disgusting.
Th-
Like it was hot.
that's wild, bro. Okay. I'm looking it up
It
right here.
is. Yeah, look it up. It
Uh
was crazy hot.
Little Rock in Arkansas had to endure its hottest summer in 2010 between June and August when the temperature went above 90 degrees for 2 months.
Yeah, that's me.
Whoa.
That's me, my friend.
You're out there 127 degrees?
Yeah.
Just
It,
death.
it, you know those thermometers that you have on the porches?
Yeah,
And I look at this and I cannot believe because I look at the Celsius because everything in Europe is in Celsius, it's not in
right.
Fahrenheit.
Of course.
So I was
Makes
like,
sense.
over 50 degrees? I was like, holy smokes. And it was a brand new built neighborhood, not brand new, like 7 years old probably. And in those neighborhoods, you don't really have trees, right? Because they're
Correct.
brand new, like they're little tiny trees. So no shade. People are gone throughout the day, and even if they're home, they'll open the door, and when they open the door, like the AC hits you, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, just keep it open. This is so good."
Yeah.
But people are like, "No, not whatever you're selling. I'm not interested. Like this is way too hot to even leave. Like
Yeah.
you're walking around. Like what's wrong with you, buddy?"
That's
So
crazy.
that was at some point. I remember um, the shoes I was wearing, it was really crappy shoes, but like when I was stepping on an asphalt, because of the heat, it felt like it was like gummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And that was actually the moment I remember like I was trying to run between two doors and I stumble. So I fall down, scratch my knees and my arms and my book bag rolled over. Dude, my lunchbox with we didn't even have the peanut butter jelly sandwiches. We had like basically bread, cheapest cheese, cheapest ham, cheapest ham, cheapest cheese, cheapest bread. That thing when it's compressed, it's probably that thin. It's
Yeah,
like
it's like you could ride on it.
exactly, and especially when that cheese melts, it looks like yellow rubber. Is not the
It
most
is
fun
yellow
thing.
rubber.
It is, yeah. So like when I stumbled and I fell down, and I was pretty tired to be honest. That lunchbox rolled over and it became like a bubble, like a little bubble of like disgusting mixture of yellow rubber with everything else in it. And at
That's
that point, that's like second week. Oh, but yeah, by the way, my first week, I put in 81 hours, 203 calls, 186 demos. No, 203 demos my first week, 81 hours, 404 calls. And I had like close to like 60 sit down, 65
that's
with
not bad.
one customer for 8 units. One.
Brutal.
8 units. Back then, a unit was $5.
$5. Yeah. So you made $40
$40. My
in
expense,
80 hours. You made 50 cents an
$3.
hour. Oh shit! Hang on. You froze again. Yeah.
My
You made
expenses that were $203 minus 40. I'm already on top of those 4.5 grand. I'm already
100.
accruing more expenses. So I'm 167 down or 103 down or whatever. 163. So
It's brutal.
I'm doing my math in my head and I'm like, what in the world? Like, logically, there is no way it's going to work. No way. But because having some sports background, when you start a new season, you suck big time. It hurts, it's not fun, but you get better, right?
Yeah.
So the moment when I stumbled, that was actually my second week. And I remember, again, it's like Wednesday, I didn't sell anything at all throughout the week. And I remember being on my like on my two knees and my arms, and I'm like just sitting down on my ass and looking around Andres, and that was a very weird moment of realization. And that's when actually Dan's words hit me big time. He said, when you refuse, you cannot move forward, but you refuse to go back, that's when you grow
Yeah.
the most. And that's the moment when I was like, damn, I'm by myself in the middle of nowhere. Nobody opens the doors even. Like, I don't care if you tell me no, but just at least open the door, I'm in a crazy heat. I'm running out of water, but I don't want to quit. I'm just not going to quit.
You can't.
I don't, it's not an option. It's just in the DNA. It's like, it's not an option. Even if it hurts as shit, not going to happen. Just keep on moving forward. Just got up, went to knock on a door and another door and another door, and then this lady opens the door, and I was like, books, that was literally my dad. I was like, books, just flipping for the pages, and she was like, okay, how much? And I was like, well, I don't know. Let me see. I got on my price list, and I was like, $100. Literally, my first half of the summer, everything was $100. Everything. It might be $40. I was telling you about $100. So she opens the door and she's like, dude, this is what? Say something again. And I'm like, $100. And she's like, okay, listen, I'm on my way. Come back in the evening. I will have cash for you. I like those kids books. I will have the cash for you, but make sure you come back in the evening. I was like, okay, sure. If you're going to give me cash, no problem.
Yeah, I'll take that.
So I'm coming in the evening, and like, I'm a first year, right? It's like, whatever. It's on my way home. It's 9:30 p.m. anyways. Coming home, knocking on the door, and behind the door I hear, everybody come down here. He's here. And I'm like, what? This is weird. That's actually my second customer that summer. The lady opens the door, and you know how you like at Dennis place, when you open the door, you see the stairway.
Yeah.
and there is like the living room.
Yeah.
Exactly the same thing, just like other sides. But she opens the door, and I see the full staircase just full of people. She opens the door, and I see the whole living room full of people, and I'm like, what the fuck? She's like, come on in, we've been waiting for you. So I step inside, putting my books back down, and I was like, okay. And she's like, talk.
He got a fucking like audience for you.
And I'm like, what? In my brain, I was like, this is fucked up. So
Fuck.
I was like, my name is Pavel. I'm a college student from Europe. And the whole house explodes in laughter. And I'm like, what is wrong here? So I'm just doing my approach, right? Because I don't know anything better. So I'm just keep on saying. And at some point I stopped, was like, am I okay? And everybody's just laughing their asses off. And I'm like, am I okay? And
Oh wait, no, you froze. Oh no. Hold on.
told you he talks.
Hold on. You froze.
Yeah, what is the last thing you said?
You asked, am I okay? Everyone was laughing and said, am I okay? And then what happened?
Yeah. I was like, am I okay? And the lady, as she laughs, she looks at everybody else in the house and she goes like, I told you he talks like Borat. And I'm like, Borat? Who the heck is that? So that's the year when the movie came out, right? He talks like Borat. And I'm like, I was like, what? I don't know who that is, but if she pays me money for my second sale of the summer, I'm good with that. I can be Borat, I can be anyone, whatever.
Whatever
So
you
she
need,
actually
lady.
she had like $100 in cash. She was like, yeah, there you go. I was like, sweet. So I get home and I asked my roommate, it's like, dude, who the heck is Borat? And he's like, what? You don't know who that is? I was like, I have no idea. So we get on YouTube and he starts showing me snippets of Borat, and I was like, fuck no, I don't talk like him. What the heck? And I told him obviously the story to him and my host dad, and they were laughing their butts off. I was like, dang. So then later in the summertime, I start using that to my advantage. So anytime when people will be like, oh, you kind of sound like Borat, I was like, very nice. Just making fun of that.
My sister, fourth best prostitute in all of Kazakhstan, or what is he from?
Yes.
Fourth
Kazakhstan. Yeah.
That is so funny, dude. You're Borat.
Yeah.
You're very dude, they're very nice.
Very nice.
I thought I mean, I'm glad where the story went, but I thought she had like those parties that people do for dildos?
Yeah.
I thought she was doing that for your books. I thought she was gonna be like, all of these families.
Yeah.
But she would just gather them all.
I was expecting a lot more messed up stuff, to be honest.
When you have like,
yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah. Anyways, it was pretty weird at the beginning, but then when they started laughing, I was like, whoo!
How many people do you think were there?
At least 30. At least.
She invited people. 30 people.
Yeah.
To come to her house.
Yeah.
And wait.
Yeah.
For you to come around.
Exactly.
And then she says, talk.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Oh, it's too good. Only in the bookfield, dude. Listen, and I'm not trying to say how amazing our show is or anything like that. I think our show is great, but these are the kinds of stories that make me go, how is this not viral? That's hilarious. I don't care. You should tell that story in a stand-up bit or something like that. Yeah. It's because you got to add context to it. But if you know the context of what's happening, it's so, I mean, it's funny without it, but with the context, it makes it glorious.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh, so, okay. Was the pressure weighing down on you for like, at what point did that go away? Because I mean, obviously, you came back for 11 more summers. Not that you knew that that's what you were going to do, but there had to have been a point where things start working out, and or they don't, and then you have this problem of you owe $4,500 American.
Dude, I love your questions, Andres. You are a great host. I'm not flattering with you, but like I'm seriously like it's really good. It's
Dude,
really you're doing a really good job. To be
appreciate it.
honest, I, different people are different, right? So this job, it is difficult, but that's how you learn the most about yourself is when you're under pressure. And you learn things that you probably would not know otherwise. So that was first time when I had a lot of pressure to like extreme pressure. I'm not talking about like something easy. I'm talking about extreme pressure. So in sales school, I called my dad and I was like, Dad, I really like the culture. I like being crazy here. It reminded me so much about the children, like the kids camp. I was like a camp counselor at
Mhm.
big time, like same energy, same people, and that job is the best job I ever had. Didn't make shit money, but it was so much fun. Loved
Mhm.
every bit of it. Those kids were phenomenal. And I was like, in my head in sales school, I was like, hey, if I can turn that whole thing with all these emotions and fun and cool stuff we can do around here into actually making money, I'm not living. Like, this is awesome. So, third week, after my second week, I went for a walk with Georgie on the. So they moved me from Arkansas to Memphis because there was an available spot. We all know how it goes after two
Yeah,
weeks, right?
there's a bunch of available spots.
Exactly. The spot became available, and they decided me to move to Memphis. And I went to sign a meeting. I'm with George on this walk on this bridge in Memphis, Tennessee, and we're walking. And I was like, Jorge, well, George, I was like, dude, here is what's going to happen. This week, I'm going to be the most coachable person you have ever worked with. In fact, I'm going to be a most coachable person than Southwestern history
I know
has
this story.
ever known.
I
Be
think I
like,
know this.
yeah, you do.
Ah,
You definitely do.
hey, hold on. I gotta take a 52. Okay, all right. That's a timestamp.
Okay.
I need to know where I need to clip this because this is about to be a great story.
All right, cool. So I'll be the most coachable person that Southwestern company has ever known. And my goal is to sell 100 units this week. So here is what's going to happen. Either I'm going to hit this goal or I'm out. Like, seriously, like, it's not working
Hold, you froze.
not probably
Oh,
ever again. So
hold on,
I'm going
hold
to,
on. You
yep,
froze.
I
If
know.
you see
I'm
me do
taking my
this, you
time.
froze. Oh, so you said you're gonna be the most coachable. Either you hit 100 units or you're going home. Is
Yeah,
what you
well,
said.
yeah, yeah, like this is not going to work out, right? So like, I knew in the back of my head, I knew I'm not going to quit, but I need to do like some type of ultimatum for me, like, hey, like you have to hit it, right? So he goes like, okay, that sounds good. And he tried to tell me some stuff, like some stuff that he thought it would motivate me. But he goes like, here's the deal. If you want to do that, you need to be in bed today by 6 p.m. or 6 p.m. on a Sunday night. I'm a 21-year-old college male from Eastern Europe, right? Like we use this is the time when we leave the house usually in the summertime. It's 5 p.m. and we go back home at like 7, 8 a.m. after the party. So for me that was wild. It's like, why would I do that? He goes like, well, if you want to hit your goal, you have to be rested. Like you need to get some rest. I was like, fine. I promise I'm gonna be coachable. I will be coachable. So as we pull into the driveway of our landlord, Jay, big shout out to Jay that he helped multiple generations of book kids in Memphis, Tennessee. I love Jay Williams and his family. You guys are great. And as we're pulling into his driveway, our OL, Dante, he tells me and our roommate, Kuba, by the way, he goes like, yeah, he goes like, hey boys, we have guests tonight. And I'm like, what? Whatever, who cares, right? He goes like, yeah, Jay is out of town and he invited a few friends over. He has a couple of buddies that they will have a 4th of July celebration at the pool. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And as we're getting closer to the house in the car, he goes like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you as well that the guests that they're bringing, there are two guys, and those two guys are bringing a full D1 college volleyball team, female volleyball team. And I'm like, is that a test? Like, what the fuck is happening here? So I was like, okay, well, it's not too bad. I can handle that. And it's 4th of July, Sunday, 2010. We're walking with these Walmart bags in our hands. And as we're staying literally in the guest house that is by the pool, literally by the pool. We didn't even take cold showers in the mornings. We would just jump in the pool.
Mm.
Right? So as we walk by that pool, I glance to my right and I see two grills going with fit fat ass steaks. Those two guys are just
Mm.
in their shorts flipping steaks and burgers. And there are three coolers with beer. And you know how like in the like in commercials, you see like a bottle of beer and you have a drop dripping down the bottle
Yeah.
of beer, how cold it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how every single bottle looked in those coolers. And I'm like, that cannot get worse than that. Like at this point in life, like a 21-year-old college student has. I had three things that I loved the most in my life. It's beer, women, and swimming, right? And as I'm passing by the pool with beer and food, and I see, and I turn my head, and I see this gorgeous southern women. I'm not beautiful. I'm talking about gorgeous, almost perfect.
Yeah, they're athletes. They're D1
Tan,
athletes.
yes, fit, tan, blonde, blue eyes, tall, yeah, southern girls. And I'm like, unbelievable.
In swimsuits.
This is cannot be happening. They're floating on the inflatable flamingos. They're having they're they're already a little bit tipsy, right? So they're already pre-warmed up.
Yeah.
They're like having laughter, and as we're passing by, all of them are like, "Hi, boys!" And we try to hide, like we try to not look there, right? And like wave and going inside our house. And as we start unpacking our groceries, the leader, like the girl,
The alpha girl.
the alpha girl, yes,
Alpha woman.
stands she leans on the door on the entrance door, and she's like, "How's it going, boys?" And we have to respond, right? Not to be rude.
Sure.
So we open our mouths, and she hears the accent, and obviously that's how it always goes. Oh, where you from, right? So that's an easy connection. So we start talking, and basically it's just me and her talking at this moment, and she goes like, "Oh, there is a piano here. Who plays piano?" I was like, "Yeah, I play a little bit." And she goes like, "Can you play for me?" I was like, "Sure." So I'm grabbing a seat on the piano bench, start playing. She sits next to me. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, when she leaned on the door and said, "Hi, boys," it was really hard to call it a swimsuit. It was more like a two strings that covered the most intimate parts of the body.
Dental floss.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, dental floss. Exactly. Yes, yes. So she sits down next to me, and that's like third week of the summer, right? 24-1-year-olds, you know what I'm talking about. Your hormones are through the roof, and I'm playing this piano, trying to cross my legs, type of deal. So at some point, I finished playing the piano, and she looks me in the eyes and she goes like, "Ooh, we're gonna have such a great time tonight." I cannot tell you, Andres, how I felt. That was probably the hardest no I ever said in my life. And I look her in the eyes and I go like, "I'm sorry, I have to be in bed in like 5 minutes." The
It's
look
five
she
fifty
gave,
five.
dude, the look she gave me, I will never forget it. As I was the biggest loser on earth, she goes like, "Have a good night, enjoy your sleep," and she just leaves. And obviously, 5 minutes later, I'm in bed, but
In
obviously I'm not
sleep shit.
sleeping. No, hell no. Those guys are having fun, you know, playing music, laughing, having a great time that I could have had. And I'm laying down in my bed. I stare at the ceiling with my arms crossed and thinking, made a promise to myself. I was like, "Dude, if I don't hit 100 units this week, I'm gonna do to you, George, what I would have done to that girl. You are in trouble, my friend." But the crazy part is, Andres, it would sound very cliche, but it was definitely worth it. Um, because I knew that was the right thing to do. However, it's Saturday night, 10:35 p.m.
Of
in
this week.
of this at the end of this
Okay.
week. 10:35 p.m. on a Saturday night in the middle of Memphis, Tennessee. I'm sitting on 93 units. 93. And I'm like, "Georgie, I'm coming." No, I'm kidding. And a guy just literally um said no to me. So that was painful. And that was the time when I'm sitting on my bike in the middle of nowhere. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. When the street lights are on, that the lights are on inside the houses, and you can see through those big windows that people are playing board games, watching a movie, having dinner, some just chilling and stuff. And I'm in the middle of nowhere, that close to hit my goal. But my rationale, my logic tells me like, "Dude, it's 10:35 p.m. Who the heck in the world is gonna buy books from you?" That was literally the moment, the defining moment of my summer, that summer.
And your
Because
life.
because yeah, literally. And the that's the moment when I was like sitting on my bike. And again, I thought that always what motivates me are people who are skeptical and tell me that I cannot do shit. Where in that moment, I've seen all the people who actually told me like, "Hey, you're gonna kick ass. You'll do great at this." And people who always supported me, all the kids that from the from the children's camp that we were good friends with, and da. So my eyes start tearing up at that point. And they didn't start tearing up because somebody was rude or it was difficult, whatever. They start tearing up for the fact of helplessness, or this pain that is causing you inside, that you want to keep on moving forward, but you logically cannot. Like your logic kicks in and tells you, "No, this is a stupid idea."
Hmm.
And like that moment that it's like you want to move forward but you cannot. Like that was the moment when I was like, "Fuck it." I just jump on my bike, start like rolling. And if somebody will film me at that point, people will probably freak out of my face, because I will start screaming like, "Who's next? Who is the next family with kids? Everybody's getting them." I'm just like riding my bike like crazy. And I remember this family that I approached a day before that. Oh, that's a story you're gonna like. You're gonna love the story.
Hmm.
So I go to the. All right, let me put it down here for a sec.
Oh, in the chat? Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, so I go to that family. I'm knocking on the door, and I try to catch them like the whole day they were not home. I'm knocking on the door, two steps back. The lights are off, by the way. All the lights on the porch inside are off. Knocking on the door, nobody answers. Knocking on the door again, nobody answers. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I'm turning around, start walking away, and the dad pulls in. A huge white truck, and he's like, oh, you know how it goes, right? When the dad pulls in
Mm.
or somebody pulls in, there are two different scenarios. Either they're going to
Mm-hmm.
open the door and be like, hey, how, yeah, we remember you, or are you crazy? It's 10:30 p.m. at night, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, he opens the door and I'm like, hey, this is Pavel. We met yesterday. Hello. He goes like, yeah, I remember you. How you doing, buddy? I was like, oh, good. I'm doing really good, especially when you're friendly to me type of deal, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Did I
Yeah.
freeze?
All right. Cool.
Oh, but now you froze.
Yeah, just for a
Oh.
second. It's good now,
Okay, we're
I
back.
guess.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
we're
good now.
back now. So I was like, all right, let's grab a sit down. So, oh, and his wife was inside, and she freaked the fuck out. She thought that they're going being robbed because I was not,
Yeah.
you know, touching the door. I was banging on the thing. It's like, hello.
That's scary as shit. Yeah. Oh, did I freeze?
I'm trying to see if there is a better spot here in the room where there are three antennas instead of two, but it's okay. I'll just keep on sitting here. Anyways,
Yeah.
so
I wonder if it's
I'm,
it. Can you still hear me?
yeah,
Can you? Oh, okay, good.
I can hear you
It's just
perfectly.
it just gets a little delayed. If you see the little bars on the top right corner, it means that the internet's struggling with something. So I don't know, somebody's streaming or something, but it's all right. Okay, so he takes you
So,
back in the house. Mom thought she was being robbed.
hello?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
cool.
Do you have that? Do you have apps on your phone that are open or something, or not your phone? Your on your computer, like other tabs, even.
Yeah, let me shut everything down. That way we'll know for sure that it's not gonna be consuming any data. Anyway, so basically, yeah, I'm banging on the thing, dude. Like, yeah, like there is no tomorrow.
And he takes you back in the
And
house.
yeah, so she opens the door and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I thought we're getting robbed. Like, what's going on here?" I was like, "Yeah, just the bookman, books. Yeah, we met yesterday." So he goes like, "Yeah, yeah, let's see what you got." So we're sitting down. I'm not kidding. I'm telling them that line in buying atmosphere. It's like, "Hey, I'll show you what I've got, and if you like it, great, get it. If you don't like it, that's fine too. But just so you know, depending on your decision, it will depend. It will literally influence either I will stay here and do this job for the rest of the summer and potentially XYZ years, or I'm out. No pressure." I
Holy
literally
shit!
tell that to people, and it's like this. I literally told them like, depends on today's if you're gonna buy or not. It will depend. My life depends on that. I literally told them that, and
Dude, what?
they have a seventh grade girl, right? This kid, you know those kids that you click immediately, and there are kids that whatever you say, they're gonna be like, no.
Yeah.
There was one of those kids. There was like, no, I can find it in the internet. No, we have it in school. No, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I will
I
kill you. I
I
will kill
need
you.
my fucking 8 units, dude. Mom and dad are all over me. Like they love me. They like the fact they like the whole thing. And at the end of the whole presentation, I was like, well, what do you think? Let me go use the bathroom and you guys can let me know what you think.
Oh, the old bathroom clothes.
Yeah, absolutely. Bathroom clothes are the best. I yeah. And I'm coming back and I was like, yeah, I think we're gonna get one. It was my longest sit down my first summer. I exited that we sat down at about 10:40. I got out from that house at like 11:55. It was crazy.
Shit.
Yeah.
And they buy did they buy 8 unit or they bought what?
Yeah, they bought 8 units. So I was riding in the middle of Memphis, Tennessee. I went to get myself a like a soda and I think like a cigar or something, like just like cheap ass stuff because I was smoking
How'd you
back then.
feel?
Dude, I felt fucking unbelievable. And it's not because of those 8 units, it's because I refuse to give up. The fact that you try and you push and push and push, that's what made it so special. It's not the 8 units, it's the fact that you didn't give up when 99% of people would have.
Wow. That's wild.
Mm-hmm. That was,
Th-
and that week actually, I've met three different alumni, and I want to give them a shout out. None of them were at the reunion, unfortunately, but good friends of mine. It's Ford Williams, who lives in Memphis, Tennessee. Did one summer. The guy bought 9 units from me that week because without those units, I
Crucial.
would have done it. Jay Lawler, who's four of his five brothers, well, four brothers, I believe. Jay's brothers, they sold for Southwestern, and Jay works for Tom James right now. Great friend of mine, Jay and Becky Lawler. Um, Phenomenal people, great guys. They bought like 17 units from me. Big shout out to you guys.
That same week?
Yeah, with
You ran into
yes,
3 alumni in one week?
yeah, the same week. These guys actually, Jay is living with that last customer from that week. They were in the same neighborhood. So Jay actually gave me a new pair of shoes because I had holes in my shoes. They loaded me with like peanut butter and snacks and da 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 that week. And after that last door, I went to see Jay, and what Jay gave me the pair of like a pair of shoes that he had that was my size
You went to his house
to
at
use.
midnight?
Yeah, yeah. He said come by anytime when you're done with work. So I came to his house. He was like, "Dude, I'm so proud of you. Way to finish at midnight. So good." Amazing people. They
Wow.
are amazing people. And Matt Miller, of course. Matt is a pastor or at least back then he was a pastor at Woodland Presbyterian Church in Memphis, Tennessee, and uh, really, really, really good friend of mine. And what he've done, I did not know. Actually, it's good that I'm on the podcast because I hope Matt, you're gonna watch that. Your friend, my first summer, at the end of the summer, when I showed up at his door, he's a pilot. He flies, I think, for FedEx or for some private airlines. But he was a pilot that you guys recommended to me. And um, when we sat down with them and they bought books, at the end of the sit down, he told me like, Pavel, you know what Matt did, right? Oh no, I asked him like, hey, I don't know why, but it's just like a thing I've seen with everybody who has Woodland Presbyterian sign because they have like a private school as well next to, in the church. Everybody was super nice to me the whole summer. Like, why? You guys are awesome. And he goes like, you probably don't know what Matt did, huh? I was like, what did he do? Since Matt is a pastor, right? At the service, like at the service in the morning where there were like 1,400 people or so, he literally gets on stage and he goes like, hey, there is this guy Pavel from Moldova selling books door to door 80 hours a week, straight commission, da 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 da. He, works his way through college. I've done the exact same thing when I was in college for 2 summers. If you're interested or not, treat him well. If you're interested, grab a seat, check out his books. We bought some books for our kids. Check out his books. If you like it, get it. They're awesome books. We love them. If you don't like it, just give him a soda and send him on his way. But please treat him with respect. That
Wow.
one name and that one gesture, like that, I'm telling you, that week was so incredibly crazy, cool, and fun. And I do believe if people do the right thing and they work super hard, good things come in their way. Sooner or later, that always happens. And
Hmm.
that's what like I was like, man. So Matt, big shout out to you, my brother. That was a very kind thing you've done, and it has been with me for all these years, and will be for the rest of my life. And Jay and
we gotta try to find Matt.
Ford, yeah. Oh, I can put you guys in touch together. That's been awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
they're good. They're really good people. Really good people.
That's wild.
So yeah,
What a week.
yeah,
Starts
that's
out with some girl in dental floss trying to sleep with you.
yeah,
Ends with a midnight soda at Matt's house.
yeah, yeah. Well, that was I went to Jay's house, but that
All
week.
right, at Jay's house.
Matt house was next week. We went to smoke cigars after the long week. But yeah, it was good people. Like yeah. Anyways, when you on the book field, and I know everybody has their stories, everybody has things to share, but when you work with people and with you every day, right? On the book field or outside the book field, you have shitty people and you have good people everywhere, regardless where you go.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless where you go. Like you have good and bad people everywhere. And if people think, oh, this shit happened to me or this crap happened to me, yeah, well, all the bad things happen in two cases, at least to me and what I've seen with my people. People do things that we tell them not to do, or people get off schedule. Those are the main two sources of majority of 95% of the problems.
Yeah,
Every time when I'll get shit will happen to me, it will happen because I'll get off schedule or I'll do stuff that I shouldn't be doing.
that's super interesting. I appreciate the fact that you are sharing like such like vivid details. Like how you remember this pretty well. Some of our guests sometimes don't have these like recollections of memories and stuff like that. But I mean, but then again, it makes sense because that your third week, your first summer, was one of the most crazy weeks of your life. I mean, maybe not crazy, but from a standpoint of like what it meant for you going forward and how the trajectory of your family, your your future personally changed that week. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
it is true.
would it
It is true. Yeah.
would it have meant as much if that girl hadn't hit on you by the pool? Would it have meant as much if you had hit 100 units by Tuesday? Who knows, right? But the way it went down, I mean, that's like movie. That's classic, bro. That's
It,
almost as good as Barcelona. Way better than any Madrid thing ever. It's amazing.
that's doubtable. You
Yeah,
know, you know what we have in common,
what's
Andres?
that?
Is PSG hates both of us.
True, true. Um,
Yeah.
so how did that summer? Because we have 12 summers to get through. So let me ask this. I'm sure there's a ton more stories from your first summer, and tell them as they come to your memory. But I'm gonna skip forward really quick. Where at what point? So 100 units is still not a lot. I mean, it's amazing that that happened to you and you committed. So then now it's like, what happened next? Because who were you and well, I guess you guys still until September. So how did the rest of the summer go? And like, were you able to make that money back for your family? Like, what happened?
That's a great question. I'm telling you, you're a great moderator. You
I
make
appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
you make me people talk. So
Which is crazy because I talk a lot.
that was the trigger that showed like, hey, you can actually like it will work out, right?
Right.
And dude, yeah. Oh my gosh. I have another thing that I may share. And I'm telling you, I have so many stories. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Now
We got one, two, three, four.
the thing about that's just first summer. We're talking about first summer. Well, first and some of them is snippets from other summers. But um, you said about the customers. Yeah, in fact, if I get my customers list and I see the house on the map, I can tell you stories about the house. I can remember what
Same.
happened for the 12 summers.
Same.
Yeah, it's fun.
Bro, are you so this is I think why we get along the best is because we have similar brains from a standpoint of I also did math and like math was easy for me, but I think I've told this story on the podcast before, so I don't mean to interrupt your story. But long story short, yeah, like when we were doing green cards and they were like, you gotta Map them out. I'm like, no, I don't need to map them out. I know exactly where they live and what they owe me and what their names are. And they're like, no, you don't. I'm like, yes, I do. And so they like Steve pulled out a green card and he was like, all right, what about this one? Jane Doe. And I go, okay, she lives like on Fuller Street and she bought a Mufu and half the Ask Me's and she owes me $70 and like blah blah blah. And he was just like, what the? I'm like, aren't you all like this? And he's like, no. And I was
No.
like, oh. So when you say like you could pull out a map and be like, I could tell you what they bought. To this day, I could get there. I can get there without a map from here.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so fun. It came in handy when delivering. But okay, so
This is crazy. The way you ask me stuff, it's literally like the reason why it pops out right away because those are literally the moments. Like if you ask me what was the next memorable moment of the summer, I'll tell you is the week, my best week of the summer so far.
your
And that's
Blotsville
what
week.
that's yeah, Batswa week exactly. So on Sunday it was week 5. We went to a Cats musical in
Yeah,
Memphis, and then we
nice.
went to all you can eat buffet, and we all know how that goes, right? You are just dumping, like you make this place go broke in one day. Like you let book people go into all you can eat buffet, buffet goes out of business that day. It was crazy. Like we just were eating everything that we can put our hands on. That did not go um, without any consequences. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
That was not a fun night. Period. It was just not a fun night. And I remember the next morning I wake up. I wanted to jump out of bed running to the shower. Shower. Oh, by the way, my first. So the HQ I moved in after Jay's place. Honey Rogers. I hope she's doing well. Such a phenomenal lady. Our Cuba and Dante were sleeping on a queen size bed. They did not have a place where we can put an edge mattress, so I had to sleep on couches like that. You see that?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah,
instead
so
of having a ottoman, I had two couches like that and just pillows from the bed in between them. That's how I slept the whole summer. So in the morning, usually I will be like in an L shape or a J shape, like all type of crazy shapes. So that morning I tried to wake up and I couldn't. Like my stomach was just hurting, like big time hurting. And I went to the bathroom, diarrhea, vomiting throughout the night. So I was like, Daniel, Dante, I was like, I gotta sleep in. Like I cannot stand straight. It's like, yeah, do you want to see a doctor? It's like, if it's not gonna get better by noon, I'm gonna go and see a doctor. I bought some medicine to clean up, flesh out the system, fleshed out the system, got on the bike at about, I don't know, 1 p.m. probably, went to the field, and that's the week I felt really physically very weak, but mentally very, I guess, intact, like very stable. That's the week, it was a mom's week, and it was a week when I did not have to translate or to put a lot of energy into translating what people say and what I say back to them. That's the week when my English clicked, when I
hmm,
can actually have a conversation with people without wasting time and energy on translation in my head. Uh,
that's I remember that week in my life. That's a big deal.
It's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that's
And
like that. Those moments are priceless.
yeah, dude, you can't buy that. I would pay money to live that again. A
Yeah,
lot of money. Wow.
it's yeah. There is a point in life when it clicks. Whatever you do, right? Driving, swimming, basketball, whatever it is.
Selling
Speaking other
books.
language, yeah, selling books, exactly. And that's the day when I was like, oh, cool, no big deal, not super hyped up or whatever, just normal. And went out that week. I sold, I think, 249 units, and back from there on, I just started doing pretty well. I sold 10 weeks my first summer though, not 12. So in 10
Oh.
weeks, yeah, I sold like 1,500 units. 1550, I believe.
So you made about seven
I
thousand
made
dollars.
7.5, yeah.
Yeah.
No, with all the tips I got, I guess 8.5, or yeah, no,
You
seven
made
and a half.
tips?
I mean, people were just giving me money, and at some point, there was like, I literally had a guy. We sat down and we had a conversation. He was like, "Here's $100 for like 30 minutes." I'm like, "No, I'm fine." I was taking money from people. Just period. I was just not. I refuse to take money
Wow.
from people. I was like, I'm doing well. I appreciate it, but no. And at some point, Matt actually he told me, is like, hey, ask people if they get offended when they offer you money. If they would get offended by you not taking the money, just take the money because it will make them feel good. And since then,
Hmm.
I was like, all right, well, okay. So I was like,
This
all
is
right.
true,
So yeah, I
bro. So
was
you
able
made
to pay back.
$8,500. Okay, I have a couple of key moments I need to know
Yeah.
about. And we talked. I more recently we've talked about this moment because I think it's such a weird moment, and it's kind of like but when you leave, and at that time you were getting a cashier's check still from the bank. When you get the cashier's check, and then the next stop is Nashville.
Uh
What
huh.
was that like? And then when you land back home to see like your parents or your friends, and you give them that money back. So I want to know what those moments were like. But start with the first one. Going home.
So going to national first, right?
Yeah, going to Nashville. Yeah.
So I'm calling my basically Pierce Bambridge. He was driving. I don't know where he was. I think Arkansas or something. He was driving through Memphis, and he was like, "All right, I'm gonna stop by to pick you up, and we're on the way. But you have to be there on time because he had like business to get
Yeah.
done in Nashville, right?" So I was like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever." So I am ready. I'm a bit late, but I still have like 3 sets to deliver. And I was like, Pierce, I need to drop off those books at people's houses. He goes like, okay. It's like, no, we cannot do that. Like, we don't have time. Like, I'm already late. I was like, come on. It's like five. For me back then, it's like, it's just like 15 minutes. It's on our way to the highway. So we drive to the neighborhood. I drop off those books, jumping back in the car. And it was, to be honest, Andres, every single summer, with no exceptions, my last day, last literally last minute before departure from anywhere I would be in, I will either deliver the books or I'll make a sale. Every single summer. Every single summer, 12 summers in a row. So I dropped my last set, and Pierce is like, hey, you sold here? I was like, yeah. He was like, wow. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, those are nice houses. Now I understand that I sold in big break majority of my best weeks. And I have, oh, by the way, that's a cool thing to kind of put it out there to people current and past book like alums and current book people is that I have a theory and just my personal thing observation. The area where you had your best week your first summer, that's the area that you tend to like for the rest of your Southwestern career.
This is true.
Like my best week my first summer
Can
was in
confirm.
like a big, nice 2, 3 story houses with like people who are lawyers, doctors, attorneys, whatever,
Hmm.
like people who are, dude, in my little area, White Station High School, technically that's the public school district. I had 28 private schools, 28 with the minimum of like 4 grand a year per kid to like $25,000 for MUS, which is Memphis University School.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Or
That was my second summer in Massachusetts.
there you go.
Yeah, Phillips Exeter, they were paying 45, 50 grand a year, some of them. And I was like,
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah,
I understand. That's
yeah.
crazy.
So, anyways, um, so that was my. I did not have time to think, to be honest, Andres. I
Oh,
jumped in
that's
the
okay.
car and I'm not saying like I did not have time to think how it feels at the end of the summer because I jumped in the car and we took off immediately. I was still
Yeah.
delivering when we did that, and when we arrived to Nashville, I had literally less than 24 hours to check out. So
Oh shit.
it was like I was doing all my records in the car for 3 hours straight. And because I was organized, it was very, very quick. And I got to Nashville. I knew exactly where my money were. I didn't know, I didn't have to have all this, oh, let's count my books. Where are they? So that was taken care of. And we just jumped in the,
Wow.
I just jumped on a plane and it hit me when I got to Moldova. When I got to Moldova, I was like, man, that was cool, but I want to do it again. Like
Really?
it's going to be, yeah, I knew if it's going to work out first summer, it will get better from there. Like I just
Wow.
knew that it's good. Like, yeah.
How much money did you bring home?
Well, I brought home after expenses. I brought a crap loads of stuff. Like I bought myself a computer for school. I bought like stuff that I could resell or whatever. So I brought home after expenses. I probably made it at about 6 grand that summer, $6,000, and I brought home
And then you
about
paid
five.
back and then you paid back the 4,500.
Correct. Yeah.
What did it feel like to give your dad back his money or like your friends?
Oh, it was great. It was so, and I mean, my dad is like, yeah, you guys, because my mom and dad are divorced, and he was supporting us financially. One of the reasons why we're so poor is because dad was just starting with his career in Moscow, and he tried to support us to the best of his ability. But the only until I was 16, we've been living for $100 a month for 5 people. I don't know how my mom did it. I don't know, but
Hmm.
we survived. $100 a month for 5 people.
$100 a month.
A month, yeah. That's including utilities, it includes food, it includes everything.
Damn. And you come back with $6,000. And they're like, "Holy shit."
And you go give away 4.5 grand. Yeah. And yet my mom was my biggest skeptic. She was like, right, are you doing a normal job next summer? And I'm like, no, I like this job. That's a normal job.
What?
I think that's a great job. I think mom, that's a pretty good job. I like the job. And my second summer, my mom was like, no, you barely made any money. Like, why wouldn't you go and do work and travel, normal jobs? Why wouldn't you be a lifeguard? I'm like, mom, it's okay. I know what I'm doing. It's okay. I like this job a lot. It's great.
Hmm.
Third summer, same story. Second summer, I netted probably like, I want to say five. Yeah, with car. I had a car that I bought. So I netted $5,000 again. But then the next summer in 2012, because I already had car, I sold 2,500 units, but I netted $12,500 because my expenses were super low. Big shout out to Melody Green. She lives in Memphis, Tennessee. Alumni that hosted us, and she helped tremendously that summer. And the big,
2012?
yeah, 2012,
You sold 2,500?
2,500. Yeah,
I kicked
20.
your ass, bro.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
No, I was just kidding. I was kidding. So
yeah,
let me ask you
yeah.
this.
No,
So,
you did.
do you remember me?
Yeah. I mean,
You
I
remember
remember you. I remember your faces, and I especially the names. But like, I know the names, but
when
very few
when's
people we.
when's the first time you remember hearing about me? It wasn't until much later. I mean,
No,
I
you did. You had a pretty solid first summer, right? Your first summer was
yeah, I
good.
was like
I've seen you.
4,100.
Yeah,
I was
I've
on the
seen you.
Pacesetter a lot.
I was definitely seeing you in the Superstars book. That's
Yeah,
when the first time I was like, oh, okay. Even this,
really.
yeah,
But I only made the Superstar book my first summer because the second summer I didn't. I might have been on it, but it was, dude. Back then there were so many more book people. So like making it in the Superstar book was like
yeah. I was
it
not in
meant a
this.
lot more.
I was not in the Superstars book my first summer, even with almost 1,600 units.
I mean, we might include this in the podcast because this is a good conversation, but it used to mean a lot more. I just remember, and this is back. I was talking to Dave Brown about this. Like, this is back in the time where the Pacesetter actually had one person on the front,
Yeah,
and it meant so much to be on that. Like, it was like, I mean, you were literally Michael Jordan of that week. Nobody. I mean, as a rookie, I was only on the Pacesetter. I was never on the Pacesetter my after my second or third summers, um, but my first time I remember thinking like I am the best person as best rookie in the entire company this week.
Yeah,
Hannah's beat me, like, but you don't have that feeling anymore. And
yeah.
I'm not saying that for myself. I'm just saying like if I got that today, I'd be like, I mean, it's cool, but I feel like it means so much less. And they added more people in the pace on the superstar book now and stuff, and it's like doesn't mean as much. Get it? Like shit. Who gives a fuck? Um,
Exclusivity.
yeah, I mean, because that's what made Southwestern work. I mean, there was a point like 2,000 units is not bad. Like 2,500 units, that's a good summer. You made money. You made good money that summer. That's better than. I mean, it's not like Peter Peckhoff, but who is right? Like the point is like you're taking $12,000, and even if you have 2 grand of expenses and you net 10 grand to take back to Moldova, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That is, as we discussed earlier, that is 4 times the average household income, which would be the equivalent of making like 150,000 here. But you're doing that in 3 months.
Yeah. That's the summer. Actually, I saw 2,500, but I netted 12,500.
You
So my
netted 12.
expense, yeah, my expenses were super low, like super, super low.
What? Okay,
I'm
so
bringing 12 grand to Moldova in 2012. That's that was like it's basically $1,000 a month, right? And back then, $1,000 a month, you have to be almost like a director of a company to make that money in Moldova.
yeah, you were
So,
making baller. I mean, let's see, that's $17,000 today, right? And divided by the 2,700 income, whatever, right? That was the
mhm.
average yearly. So that's 6.2 times the average. If the average here is about 34,000, which I think is about right, that's $214,000
Yeah,
like today, which
yeah,
is not bad for 3 months. Is crazy.
yeah. But majority of people back then, there were IT was just an upcoming thing. Like of my friends were working in IT and they were making like dude 500 euros a month. That was a very, which is roughly $500 a month. That was a real like a decent salary. Like you can
Yeah.
afford yourself to go. And that summer we went crazy. After that summer, it was the transition because after that summer I came back home and with George and our friend Yaroslav and Alex, we will have the exact same schedule from like the fall all the way till spring. 5 days of recruiting. On Friday night, I will go and hang out with my buddies, like buddies from like neighborhood type of deal. And on Saturday, and we will hang out until like 5, 6 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Just playing guitar, drinking, getting shit faced. But then on Saturday, we'll have pre-gaming starting at about 6, 7 p.m. with George and Yaroslav and all these guys. And we will go all the way till Sunday morning until like 8 a.m. on Sunday. And we'll go as if it will be our last year of life. We'll go crazy, dude. All the money we made throughout the summer, we'll just recruit Monday through Friday and then go crazy. And obviously, I will train for like swimming because that's pretty obvious. But I'm talking about work wise, and that is absolutely insane. There is another little thing, but that's definitely a Brizzle story. Not gonna tell it on
You telling
there.
it to me on Bizzler? All
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. But yeah, it's been crazy, and that's like all the money I made because that year when I actually started supporting financially, I kind of took the duties of that and started supporting financially completely my family, like brother, sister, grandma, my mom, and
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
that
you
was
could. You could comfortably do that. Because
Yeah.
you guys were living on $100 a month, bro.
Correct. Yeah.
And now you are making 17,000 a month on average if you split like.
Yeah. It's been
Oh no,
that
that's
was
not right.
the
You brought home
yeah.
$12,000, which is $1,000 a month. You literally, it's like going 10x on anybody's life. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And
It's crazy, crazy.
after that, still my mom was like, "When are you gonna get a great? When are you gonna get a real job?"
After that,
Yeah. After
did your
that,
mom ever turn
mama,
around?
my mom is like, "When are you gonna get a real job?" I was like, "Mom, this is my job. Like, I love this job.
How
It's
are
a
you
great
arguing
job."
this right now? What?
Oh, I after that summer, I sat down with her. I was like, "Hey, either you're gonna support me or you're not gonna support me. I'm still gonna do this job. Like, you better support me because it's gonna save both of us a lot of time and frustration." But then I figured out that the money was not the factor that determines the support of parents. And after that summer, I started in 2014 is the first time when I actually forced my mom to leave Moldova, and I bought her a flight ticket to Prague, and she came out to hang out with my boy Tim and Vasya and all these guys that Eva and other like Eva, um, Teresa, all these guys that we've been working, Yana, all these guys that we've been working with in Prague, and literally those 4 days completely flipped the perception of Southwestern. When she actually hung out and she's seen the people we work with and what we do, especially the people we work with, that
Yeah,
was the flipping point when she was like, "Oh, now I see why you do that.
yeah. My
Now I
mom was the
see
same
why
way.
that makes sense."
My mom wasn't as skeptical in general, but she didn't get it, and she would host just because she has a big heart. But one
Mm-hmm.
time we brought her to GRS, and she was like, "Oh,
Game
it,
changer.
it
Yep.
makes sense."
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry.
No problem.
There was something I was gonna make a noise, and it didn't. Okay, dude, that's wild. So your mom turns it around in Prague. Okay, let's fast forward here. So as your summers progress, what was your best summer? How
My
many,
last two, 10 and a
eh,
half.
you sold 10,500 units.
Yeah, both summers.
Holy shit. So mathematically, and even if it was like your last summer was 2021, so the unit was already like $8 at that point.
No, it was less. It was like 6.8, I believe.
Well, whatever. So 6.8. So you made $76,000 just from your personal sales. You probably had an org and a team and stuff. So let's just say you made, I don't know, $110,000. That ballpark?
Let's
Yeah.
say. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just lowballing it, but whatever. I'm just, you don't have to tell me how much you made, but like,
That's okay.
I'm just pointing out. So you made $110,000 back to back summers. Let's say you spent a little bit of those here and there. You still have 150,000, even if you went bananas and spent $60,000 like a madman. Like, that's so much money for your country.
Hmm.
That's crazy. What does that do for you back home? Like, how does that affect your family, like your folks, your siblings? Like, what the hell? That's insane.
Anderson, you need to understand one thing. I like I grew up always in a way of like I was always envying people, or not envying. I wanted to have a lifestyle where I can go to a restaurant and not even think if I can afford a dish or not.
Well, yeah,
Right? Like just the fact that you have the freedom of giving them your credit card and not even look at the price of the dish because you don't care, because you can afford it. That makes it's just money. And you can quote, and anyone who's going to be listening to that, if people will make it to that minute, they can quote. That's my personal quote, is that I believe that money don't buy happiness, but they buy things that make people happy. And the stuff that you're buying for yourself, it's one thing, but the fact that you have the freedom to afford stuff for, especially for your loved ones. Like,
Yeah.
giving you an example,
Yeah.
I brought my mom this April to the States, and the fact that
I
to
met her.
see her, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The
What
first time
the,
I was in Nashville.
yeah, yeah,
She was there
yeah,
that
yeah,
weekend.
exactly. To see her eyes and reaction of her experiencing Atlantic Ocean is the first time when she's seen Atlantic Ocean. With actually, it's the first time when she's ever seen an ocean. That's a very
Yeah.
special feeling.
Yeah, because Moldova is landlocked.
It is.
You got
Yeah.
the Ukraine all around, and then you got Romania on the one side, but
Yeah.
you don't have an ocean. Yeah.
Correct. And it's special. It's just special to see your mom smiling. And I know it's going to go a little bit south now, but like unfortunately I've lost quite a few people, very close people, grandmother, dad, friends throughout the last like few years, and it teaches. Obviously, death is a part of life, but it teaches you that if you have a chance to tell somebody something nice, do it now because tomorrow you might not have a chance. Or if the money that you're making, yeah, it's good, but like it, the ROI on the money that you actually invest in experiences for your loved ones and people you care about and their emotions and the memories you create, this is priceless. Like those
Mm.
moments will not be ever, nobody will be able to return those moments back,
Yeah.
you know?
It's like the time where English just clicks.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, um, a lot of money, we've been going hard in Prague, especially, and Moldova. Like, we will make it rain and we will just go crazy.
I mean, that's like earning. I don't even know what that means. That's whatever. If the average 110, dude, you were making 10, 1,000 times the average, which would be like $3.5 million
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
a year or
Yeah.
something like that here.
Yeah.
No, $35 million. That's crazy. You
Yeah.
could do so much. You would live in like a king.
Yeah, but like, don't forget that I had to pay the bills for my family, and like, we went from having nothing to like gradually getting to the point where we can afford stuff. So
Right.
until my up until my fifth summer, my number one goal, like when you set goals, it was like I want to make sure that my family has they will never
Oh,
even
you froze.
have a need to go to. Do you hear me?
Oh, you're back. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah. What was the last thing you've heard?
That you said that you're starting to build up the bills, and then they froze a little bit.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you were saying like you started being able to eventually pay up the bills, and then it froze there.
Yeah. So we gradually went from having nothing to somewhat having a freedom in terms of like money.
Sure.
So like that was like my main goal is like for every going to every summer was like I do not want to lower my family's living standards. It's
Right.
not like I want us to have. I mean, it would be good, but it's not like we want to buy everything that is out there. It's just
Yeah.
basic needs, right? Shelter, food, and the fact that I can provide to my when I say my family, I mean like mom, grandma, sister, brother. It's like the fact that I can provide them the freedom of choice. If they want to go to a farmer's market and buy stuff from there, great. Or if they want to go to the supermarket next door, which is a lot more expensive, but it's next door, they can do that as well if they choose to do that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just the
It,
freedom of choice.
and I mean that's just even that speaks a lot to like how difficult the lifestyle is in other countries, right? Just to even have
Hmm.
the ability for that. Like people don't really understand living here until you go and even if you like people go to like Colombia and things are nice, and I don't know what it's like in Moldova, but like it's nice parts of Colombia, and then you go to the some of the parts where it's like, now this is how most of these people live. This is how like this is the real life back here, and it sucks, and people are
Yeah.
poor. You know, like there's. I mean, I have people that are poor that live in Portland nearby. You know, in the street, and it's like that person still has more money than like most people in Colombia. You know,
That is true. Yeah.
it's crazy. The
Yeah.
poor are rich here.
Yeah.
That's wild. So for your family then, were you able to like move them to a nicer part of Moldova, or like what was that like, or like
No,
what
we still live in the same apartment. My sister got
really?
a job. Yeah, my sister got a job. My brother got a job. And we just start remodeling the apartment. We start buying nicer things and stuff like that. And you know, eventually, or at least in 2018, I started investing more and more. And again, that's another thing, another great thing about Southwestern community, that you hang out with people who are pretty outstanding, to say the least. People who know more than you, that are better than you in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And investing was one of them. Like Yak Rosari, you know him, Mari Spayo, Karel, Iskander, all these
Yeah.
guys from Veikoros, oh my gosh, Andres. You can go on and on and on with names. All these guys from Estonia that kind of, I guess, embraced us Highlanders, and they let us come to their meetings. We started hanging out a lot more, and those guys are, I don't know, yeah, you can call it, yeah, they are pros. Like they're professional investors. They know exactly what they're doing. And just seeing how Estonia was, that was like how their group and their vibe and their energy and the synergy they had in their group. I was like, dang, this is so cool. And learning how investments work from them
Mm-hmm.
specifically, start helping, building the portfolios, being a lot more interested in investing, reading about it, and start, building those assets. So majority of the money I made went into the different assets.
I mean, but that's gonna be dividends. I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars, million, maybe millions later on. If it,
Yeah, well, that's the goal. Yeah,
that's
investing is pretty
crazy.
boring. It
Yeah,
has to be consistent and for a long, 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 long run.
yeah. But even if you retire at 60 and all that money has been invested and you keep being good with it, you're talking about millions of dollars, let alone, so what, I mean, you could change, like, here's what's going to happen, right? Like, do you remember your great, 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 great grandfather?
No,
You know why?
why?
Because he didn't leave you any money.
That's funny. I love it.
but but your great 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 grandkids, they're gonna remember you. Because
Dude, my
even
kid.
if you're not Bill Gates, bro, to what you're doing for the trajectory of your family, your, what your what your grandpa grew up with versus what your grandkids will grow up with is centuries of differences from a standpoint of
Yeah,
standards of living. It's insane, and
yeah.
it's because of you.
This is funny because this is what DC says all the time. Yeah, at least that's what he was saying to Highlanders all the time. He was always saying that you guys, through your hard work and dedication, you will be changing your family trees for forever.
Yeah, you're
And
the ones.
yeah, it definitely happened to me for
I mean,
sure.
you spoke to Maris. You spoke of Maris Payo. Maris has your fourth summer, my second. He stayed with my mom. We were talking about my
Nice.
yeah. It's just a funny story. I'm driving. I've never told this story. Maris, I love you if you're listening, and Marit too. Um, fucking first of all, what a couple. Like powerful,
Yes.
just
Oh
like
yeah.
Jesus. Like
That's a
that's
powerhouse for
bro.
sure.
That is whoo. They are stacked. That's like
Yeah.
Aisha Curry and Steph Curry kind of couple. They
Yeah.
are that's Beyonce, Jay Z. They're that
That's right.
of
Yeah.
Southwestern. Like honestly. Um. Anyway, so uh, I get a call. I'm on my way to fucking Boston where I'm going my second summer, and I get a phone call. It's from this random number. I'm like, hello. He goes, hello, is this Andres? I'm like, yep. He goes, hi, Andres. I'm Madis. I'm selling books here in Nebraska. I'm like, oh, no shit. Where? He goes, in Grand Island. And I'm like, oh, no shit. Let me tell you exactly everything you need to know. I gave him all the pre-approach, bro. The school, and then,
Nice.
and then I'm like, and this is like, I think it was like an hour call. And at the very end, he's just taking all these notes. And at the very end, I'm like, hey, do you need a place to live? He goes, actually, yes. And I said, dude, 40. I shouldn't. Anyway, he gave my address, and we don't live there anymore, so it doesn't matter. But still, like
Yeah.
so I give him the address, and um, I go, just show up there. By the time you get there, there's gonna be food. Um, just go there. Just go there in about 20 minutes. And he's like, okay. So then he hung up the phone. I call my mom. I'm like, hey, we're gonna have some book guys that are staying in the house. They're gonna be downstairs. They're coming. They're hungry. Give them some food, and I think they need the garage for storage. She's like, okay, because my mom, Sandra's. You met Sandra, dude. Sandra's.
Oh yeah, she's great.
She's the bomb. Mama
She's
Sandra,
awesome.
I need to clip
Yeah.
this. Mom, I love you. You're the best. Um, and sure enough, Madi shows up, and it's all there. But it was is amazing. It's such a crazy story. This is full circle. So we were just in Nashville for the reunion, and I saw. So that summer it was Madis and Erky and
Yerky, yeah.
Erky and
Erky, love Erky.
one more. Who else was the other one? I can't remember now. It's blanking. But we had a name. Dude, this is so funny. Okay, I'm sorry I'm taking over your episode, but
No, go for it. I love it.
so every time if you go through our Facebook, every time you go back through all the GRSs, whether it works probably best on Danny's profile because he's been there still since then, but if you go back through all the GRSs, you're gonna see a picture of either me or my dad, but for sure Danny, Madis, Yerky, and a couple other guys, um, going like this, like boobs, and that's because we had a neighbor. We had a neighbor who she did.
The girl next door.
Yeah, she was like, so we lived in a cul-de-sac, and she was like 2 doors down. She was the kind of mom. She was like very attractive mom. She was the kind of mom like if you knocked on her door, you're like, oh, I'm gonna have the best approach, dude.
Yep.
so so whenever I was so the summer after before college after high school, I was in shape, dude. And I was so egotistical. I was still shaving my chest at the time, bro. And I'd be mowing the lawn, and every time, without fail, she'd be outside reading her book or whatever while I was mowing. So one night during that summer, um, and she had these. She was well endowed, and these guys are coming home from like a Sunday meeting or something, and she's outside, and she's like, "Hi," like and she's super nice lady, like she's really friendly, and she's like, "Hi, how are you guys?" And she's like learning about them, and I guess at some point they come back inside the house, and they were like, just, I mean, book goggles at this point, they're like, "Whoa," and my dad, because my parents were still married at the time, my dad's like, "What happened?" And they're like, "We just met the neighbor," and he goes, "Oh." Yeah. And they were like, holy. And she would always wear these tank tops, bro. And they were like, "Whew." And then they wanted to learn how to, they were like, I don't remember, they were exchanging how to say it. And my dad, they were like, how do you say boobs in like Colombian Spanish? And he was like, tetas. And he went like this,
That
tetas.
does.
And so that became a thing, bro. And so every time, every time I see those guys, I just saw them. I almost want to see if I can find this picture of who took it. But every time I see them now, in we saw them in Nashville, bro, and they were like, "Oh, we got to take a picture." Yeah, I'll take a
Tetas.
picture of us, bro. And they were like,
This is awesome.
it was so funny. Sorry, I'm telling you this story. It's your podcast, but it was so funny, dude. Oh, here. Let me see if I could. I don't have a picture. Somebody's got a picture. Danny does or something. But oh man, it was so good. So anyway, I don't know why I told you that story, but yeah, those guys are amazing, and they were teaching you about investing. So
Yeah,
that's amazing. You're changing, and so anyway, I was talking about Maris and Maret, dude. They're kid
they're great.
even. They're kid even compared to Maris' dad or Maret's dad. I don't know what their family lifestyle was like, but compared to their hierarchy of family, they changed their life forever.
Yeah, we
Wow.
all did. We all did in
So crazy.
one way or the other. Yeah, absolutely.
You guys did what my dad did for my family, which is he's the one that moved us here from Colombia when we were going to get murdered. So he kind
Yeah,
of changed our life that way.
I need
Crazy,
to read
man.
your book about that. I
Oh yeah,
definitely need to read that.
it's on Amazon, baby.
Send me a signed copy. I'm gonna get a copy, send it to you. You can sign it and send it to me back.
No, no, no. Just get a copy, and then I'll be in Nashville. You'll be up here. I'll see you again
All right,
soon.
cool. That sounds like a plan.
I've seen you twice this year and 3 times in the last 12 months. So why
Yeah,
not?
but see, like all that your dad did for you guys, and all of the stuff that book kids are doing, regardless what country they're from, it's not given. Like there is
No,
no way you can be successful with no hard work. Period.
no.
Like people have to work their asses off sooner or later. Even people if they're extremely talented, like Peter is, he is great with people. He is phenomenal in communication, but that is a byproduct of what he has done before Southwestern. He
Yeah,
was a competitive athlete all his life. He had a great upbringing. Like his dad taught him how to work from when he was a little baby. At 12 years old, he was sweeping tables, or 16 years old, I think, when he was wiping tables at the seaside for what 12, 14 hours a day. You
damn.
know, for like
Yeah,
4 months straight. Like it's not just because he's Peter Petkov. There is a reason for that.
yeah.
And yeah, you
But
add to that. Go ahead.
I just want to commend you specifically, but all of you. I mean, every European that I've talked to on this show, and we've had a lot. Um, like you guys are. Besides that, you guys are just so humble about it, and I don't know if that's a Southwestern byproduct mixed with the upbringing that you have, or what, or if the upbringing causes you to always just be humble. So when you go and because dude, you're such a nice guy. I mean, I've never met a person that is so like likable. Like everybody that I've met that I've talked to, it's like, oh, Pasha's great. Everyone likes you, and I'm sure there's people that hate you. I'm
Yeah,
sure more. I'm sure.
wait
Uh,
until you get to know me better. Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm sure Morticia. I'm sure Morticia is
Yeah.
is not the best. And of course, everybody's an asshole once you get to know them inside. Like, right? Like, but my point is like you guys. It takes two things to be successful when you're coming from Europe to sell books, right? It takes two things. Balls, right? If you're a woman, it takes two things. Ovaries. But either way, it's not just about like showing up and knocking on the doors, like, and I'm not trying to say that the American kids don't learn or don't get the, like, my experience would have been different, but there's an extra edge to what you guys are doing because of the expenses. Like you coming in 4,000 in the hole. If you had to tell an American kid that you're recruiting from, I don't know, Nebraska, that they have to pay 4 grand to go sell books before they can go to Nashville, they'd be like, hell no. Like, there's no way they're coming out. But for you guys, that's it's because of the fact that you see it as such an opportunity. Like you're working in America, right? And that means a lot more to you because you don't take that for granted. Um, and that and
Yeah.
so I'm proud of knowing you because you remind me of that. I lose that sometimes. I've been here for too long, and I forget sometimes that it's like, hey, this is, you don't take this bullshit for granted. Like you're here, do something with it. This is
Yeah.
people would kill for this opportunity. People are dying without this opportunity, and I'm over here taking it for granted.
One thing COVID, I'm very thankful to COVID for is it brought a different perspective. Like the fact that you were like 8 people who were able to get to the US from Highlanders to sell books. I had 55 people in my base ready to go and kick ass that summer in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan and Czech Republic,
Hmm.
and none of them got visas. None of them could leave their countries at all. And I know how hard those people worked. I know how difficult and rigorous training we had before the throughout the year. We had to overcome so many challenges and so much crap back on campus, parents, PR, that you name it. And the fact that those kids did not get visas to go out and knock on doors and sell books, it broke my heart so badly. So by the time I landed in the US in 2020, I was like, I'm just gonna do it for my people. And that was my Pacesetter name for next 2 summers. I'm doing it for my people because those guys, it's like a
Mm.
tribute to them. Like, and it gives you start appreciating so much more. I'm not kidding, Andres. I arrived in 2020 to my turf. I was excited to knock on doors, genuinely happy to knock on doors and talk to people face to face. Genuinely.
That's wild. That's good perspective, bro. That speaks to the selflessness. Let me ask you about something, and then I can ask you about some of these stories, and then we can do some because we have some stories here that we gotta get to. Okay, one thing. Tell me this story that you told me. You told me like the short version because this is actually when I got the idea of having you on the podcast. When you told me the story of when the shit started going down in the Ukraine,
Hmm.
and you were in Moldova, or you were in Prague. Where were you?
Moldova.
You were in Moldova,
Hmm.
and you were like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, what? Tell me.
Well, it's good that it everything we've been speaking so far is going to link really well because can you hear me?
Yeah, you froze it for a second, but you said everything we've been talking about.
Yeah, it matches up as a puzzle really well. It flows extremely well because our thought process literally is the same. So,
Yeah.
you know how you said that we were talking about COVID giving a bigger perspective. One thing that COVID showed as well is that, hey, there is no point to fight or get frustrated over stuff that you cannot control, right? So I was in Kazakhstan working with my people. Very nice, Kazakhstan. So, working with my people really hard throughout that whole year. I know. And then things started spreading out. Is like, oh, this COVID thing in China. And everybody was asking me, like, what do you think about it? I was like, well, I don't know yet. Whatever, it's a virus. I have no clue. I'm not a scientist. I'm a sales manager. I'm going to help people recruit and train people. So I'm flying from Kazakhstan to Uzbekistan for a week to see my group there in March of 2020. A day before my flight back to Kazakhstan, Uzbek government says we're shutting down the country for a week. And I was like, okay, whatever, you know, I'm chill. It's like, cool. And it's crazy because it played out so well. I've made a parent visit to one of my boys back then, and his mom is super cool. Lena, if you ever listen to that, I love you to bits. It's she's so cool. She's like my second mama, and I have a lot of second mamas all over US and the world. So she's like, "Hey, where are you staying?" I'm like, "I'm staying with a guy that I used to work with. Um, I'm staying at his place, but I'm flying out tomorrow, so you don't have to worry about it." And she's like, "If you need a place to stay, we have our tenants moving out like tomorrow, and if you're ever back, you have a place to stay." I was like, "Okay." So 2 days later, I'm calling her. I was like, "Hey, is that still available? Is that still on?"
I
She's
can't leave the
like, "Yeah,
country.
yeah." I was like, "I need a place to stay somewhere." She's like, "Yeah, come on in." Move in. So I'm moving in. Oh, this is going to be crazy. Uzbekistan. And so basically, I've been there from March until July of 2020. So a week of the shutdown turned into like, what, 3 months, 4 months, whatever.
Oh,
Dude, such a great experience. If anyone wants to travel to a country that has incredible people and probably the best cuisine and tasting fruits and veggies in the world, go to
Colombia.
Uzbekistan.
Oh,
Uzbekistan.
sure, sure, sure.
Uzbekistan. Dude, the lemons they have are incredible. You bring lemons home, you put them on the table without even cutting them, and the citrus aroma is going to fulfill a room within like 2 hours. It's so
Really?
good. Oh my gosh. They're not white, they're like almost orange. And Yeah, just it. Just trust me, it's good. And the best part about it is dirt cheap. For
Yeah.
$450 a month, you can make it rain in Uzbekistan, including the accommodation. It's insane. Like, it
What's
was
the
so good.
what's the what's the okay? Well, I need to find this out. Median household income, was it Uzbekistan?
Yeah, Uzbekistan. It's very close to Moldova, actually.
Yeah, yeah, I see it.
Probably,
Uh,
probably, probably even less than that. But
uh
anyways,
the annual household income per capita reached 1,600 US dollars.
yeah, yeah,
$1,600.
yeah.
So
Sounds about right.
$450 a month is
Yeah, yeah. And
a
that's what I'm
lot.
saying. Like, it's
Oh shit.
awesome, and it's good. It's really it's cool, and people are great. So, anyways,
Wow.
basically, the first opportunity I had a chance to, we struggled to get some things going there and in Kazakhstan, and we got to a point where we were able to do it. So we got out. I got out in July, flew to the States, came back, and just started going with the flow. So after the 2021 summer, because my group went from 117 people in sales school in 2019 to three in 2021, um, I always wanted to become a DSL, and I wish that was the situation. But basically, in 2021, I knew like I don't have next 4 or 5 years to do that, and plus visa situation, plus multiple other factors. Just, you know, I sat down with DC. I was like, DC, let's figure out a plan. And he was like, sure.
Hmm.
What would you like to do? I told him what I would like to do, and he was like, well, come to GRS in Nashville. So I went to GRS in 2022, talked to all the directors of our family of companies. I was like, oh, that sounds great, but here is what I would like actually to do. That's something I'm really passionate about. I think it can bring a lot of value to Southwestern. And I talked to Dustin at that point, talked to Brad, talked to more people, start introducing things that I can bring to the table in terms of technology, in terms of sales management and recruiting knowledge, things that how I can blend all that together. How can I be of a help to DSLs, to the dealers and stuff. And on the 20th, step by step, I had multiple interviews with different people. And on the 23rd of February of 2022, at 6 p.m. Moldovan time, I have a final interview, like shaking hands with Brad Bernard. And
You're
he's
in
like, hey,
you're in Moldova.
I'm in Moldova. Yeah, I'm in Moldova. And
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, how much time do you need to get to the States? I was like, hey, give me a week. I need to say good, like 2 weeks to 10 days. I need to say goodbye to my friends and family, and I'll be on my way. He was like, yeah, that's fine. I go to a swim workout, going out with my buddies. The morning after that, I woke up from my phone exploding. And I look at my phone, I'm like, what the heck? People just keep on calling me. I pick up the phone, and it's actually Canadian Embassy. They're like, hey, we just got your passport that I turned in like a month and a half ago. We literally just got your passport with your visa. If you want to, we can wait for you. I was like, how much longer are you open for? She goes like, we're normally closed already, but with the exceptional situation, we can wait for you. I was like, exceptional situation? What are you talking about? She's like, I was like, yeah, wait for me. I'll be there within an hour. So I'm literally getting dressed, talking to Lucy. Well, you know Lucy, my
Hmm.
girlfriend, and she's like, dude, what's going on there? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, you have a war going on. I'm like, what? What the bullshit? What? No way! Like, very funny. She's like, look at the news. So I'm getting on Instagram, and I have buddies who are in Ukraine, and they're actually posting like 5 a.m. Kiev, one explosion. 6 a.m. Kiev, no explosion. So they will literally almost document hour by hour what has been happening in Ukraine. in different cities. And now I'm like, this is I couldn't believe in 21st century to have a Cold War, and especially it's imagine Canadians fighting Americans just like that overnight. I was like, it's just impossible. It's impossible. Like in my head, it was not possible. At that point, it's like this is just stupid. There is no reason for that. But then I started going to pick up my passport, and Lucy's like, "Hey, you buddy have to get the fuck out. We
Yeah.
need we need to get some things done back in Canada or US." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be probably flying out in like 4 days." And what actually, because I started looking up flights sooner than 10 days from now, what really triggered my thing is when my buddy, who actually we've been drinking a night before, right? He works by the airport, he has his own business. And he's like, dude, I know you're flying out next week. You might reconsider that because our government is shutting down the airport for like 10 days. The moment I've heard that, it's immediate flashback from Uzbekistan. I was like, nope, been there, done that. See
I
ya.
gotta go.
Yeah. Went, picked up the uh, the passport at the Canadian embassy. While driving there, actually, I was walking there. I was walking and booking my flight for like points to fly to the US, like one way. And I got it for like 36,000 points from Moldova all the way, or actually from Bucharest all the way to San Jose, California. And then booking my COVID test back then. So
Yeah.
that's like 11:30, let's say. Like at 11:30 or 12, I had my flight. Then I'm calling my buddy, the second buddy that we've been drinking a night before that, who's a painter who was supposed to send his painting to Bucharest that day. And I was like, dude, how about you take that painting yourself? I'm gonna pay for gas, insurance, whatever it takes, and let's go now. Like, let's go hit the
I
road
gotta get
now.
out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, sure. So we jump in the car, and he stops at the gas stations for like coffee and cigarettes. I'm like, dude, how about we just press the pedal to the metal, we get out of the country, and then we can have all the coffee and cigarettes you'd
Yeah.
like in the world.
How far is Bucharest
So
from Chisinau?
5.5 hours, and
Whoa.
it's so crazy, Andres, that my as I talk to my buddy, my mother-in-law calls me, whose daughter was like she was supposed to fly to London that morning out of Moldova, and she obviously the airport was closed. She asked me if I can take her with us. So she's in the car, and that's 2 p.m. already, right? And I kissed my mom goodbye when I was driving out of town just to say goodbye. That was literally, seriously, like we just hugged and kissed her goodbye and we took off. And my God's mother daughter, when we were driving already towards the border, she was trying to look up a flight. There was no flights available for the next 4 days out of Budapest at all. None. None of the flights to London were available for the next 4 days from Bucharest. And that was the difference in hour and a half from when I booked my flight and she booked her flight.
Holy shit.
And it's crazy because the moment we get to the border, as we're pulling in, there was already quite a bit of line, not as bad as hour and a half later, but as we're pulling in, the border control opens a new lane, and we're like third car in lane instead of waiting for like 50 cars to go through. Like the
Holy
circumstances, dude,
shit.
were nuts. Like it's crazy.
People
I
were just
literally,
leaving.
yeah,
Wow.
well, Moldova was and it still is a buffer zone between European Union and Ukraine.
Right.
Like when Edgar visited Moldova in over the Christmas, I took him to the capital of Transnistria, which is 60 kilometers away from
Yeah.
Ukrainian border. They
Yeah.
have the biggest um, warehouse of Soviet bombs in Eastern Europe.
That's the place that's technically in Moldova, but it's recognized as an independent nation, but not by the UN, right? It's
Yeah,
kind of like
but
it's what Catalonia is in Spain, where it's like it's technically its own region, and they have their own currency and everything, right there.
they do. But Catalonia is no. Catalonia is we. They did not have a civil war with Spain, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, they
Yeah,
want to.
there you go. Yeah, yeah, but like, no, this is a bit different. Like, this is Transnistria. They wanted to be a stay with Soviet Union after the collapse,
Yeah.
and Moldova is like, no, you guys are part of our, territories. So they there was a little civil war going on. I'm giving you a very snippets of
Yeah.
the
I
history,
I remember
but
hearing about
basically,
this.
Russians put in their troops on that territory, pushed Moldovan troops out, put like a little, um, basically they put it their own border.
That's
And
crazy.
Transnistrian people are awesome, dude. Those people are they're great people, and they do not want to have any bullshit going on their territories. But it is politics are politics, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a bunch of friends from Transnistria. In fact, I took Edgar to Transnistria. We spent a night there. Really cool night. Very, I guess, um, fun, but not in a fun way like clubs and stuff, but like playing guitar, telling stories, just being like very soul night, I guess. That would be
Yeah.
the
It's the way you and
it
I
was
hang out.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
fun.
was great. It was
Wow,
really
dude.
good
And
fun.
you made your flight and you fucked off and then you've been in this state since.
Yeah. And I visited home like 3 times since, but yeah.
So, how are you on a visa here right now?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that's good for until Southwestern wants to keep you.
Correct.
That's interesting. Wow, dude. Wow, that's so wild, man. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Man, we got some stories to go through here. Okay. Out of these
Let,
ones,
let's let's choose one
I
and
was gonna say,
let's choose the story that you like appeals to you the most, and then I'm gonna tell it and we can wrap up.
yeah. Hold on. So here's what we're gonna do.
I like breaking records, but I don't
No,
want
no,
to
no.
break your
Say
record.
no. I don't want. I don't want to break my record. So here was gonna be my suggestion. We have to have Georgie on here.
Okay,
Okay. So I'm gonna have an episode with George, and he's gonna tell me a bunch of
okay,
stories, and then we're gonna have an episode with
okay,
the three of us,
okay.
and we're gonna get drunk and tell these stories.
All right.
And then we'll go for however long, and it'll just be stories because that way we got both of your backstories already. So it's like, okay, remember Pasha? You told us your whole story. George is gonna tell us his whole story, and then it's gonna be the three of us, and we're gonna have a good time. We could even invite Danny, so to add some variety. Uh, we'll get that done. So, but first, let me ask you these rapid fire questions just to get these out, and then I'll have you pick your what you think will be the craziest story out of the ones that you have typed here, and you can tell us that. Is that cool?
Sure.
I mean, we should just read them out loud so people know what they could be. But let's see. So we have one two fart. We have rhino. You already told volleyball team. I'm gonna skip that one. You have feet, whatever that means. Mom killed the husband. Serial killer. Oh, this is like categories on Jeopardy. Tires second summer. Hurricane your second summer. You already told us Cuba, Moldova, Russian curse words, and cowboy. So you think about what your favorite one is. Really quick though, I'm gonna ask you about some other favorites. So number one, what was your favorite territory that you sold in all your 12 summers?
Dude, I sold in like 12 different states in 25 different cities. So when people say that territory does not matter, and I know there are people that can argue that,
It
I
does.
can claim I can claim it does not matter.
Oh,
I
fuck
can
you.
I genuinely can tell you it does not matter.
It totally matters. It doesn't matter if you know how to sell in every kind of turf, but it totally matters.
Correct. Correct. But
Yeah,
it's about how fast you
but it
can
does
adapt.
matter.
It's
Exactly.
a
That's
it's a
true. But if it didn't matter, then that wouldn't matter at all. Adaptability wouldn't mean shit.
yeah, I mean it's all about adaptability. All about adaptability.
Yeah, so it does matter.
So, but
Anyway,
I'm gonna give it to last two summers. Lewis Clark Valley. That's like here.
Lewis Clark,
Lewis
where's that?
Clark Lewis Clark Valley. It's a hidden gem place in on the border between Idaho and
Washington.
Washington State.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's where Peter
It's
broke the record.
basically south. No, he worked more like
Oh,
more.
I
Yeah.
thought this.
Anyways, but
It's so beautiful.
that's like my all my heart goes to that place, dude.
If only
It's amazing. People
if
are
only you
there.
had friends in the Pacific Northwest that you can go see while coming back to your favorite territory. If only you knew someone in Portland that was 4
Yeah,
hours away.
exactly,
Wow.
exactly.
All right. Uh, favorite kind of turf, as in like big brick country, suburbia, inner
Big brick country.
big brick country's the best. I agree.
Suburbia is fun as well, but
Big brick country. Favorite advanced sales tape.
ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, I think we're gonna go to the classic one, the Billsies and Dave Rosen.
Dave Rosenbill's is so good.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
I gotta sell
yeah.
books again.
And
So good.
I love Mark Krause, the three-legged dog. The whole advanced sales of
The
like.
two three-legged dog. I need to listen to that one. Is that the one where he talks about Michael Phelps swimming ten
Yep,
thousand
yep,
meters?
yep,
Oh,
yep. That's exactly. I
so
love that
good.
tape.
Is that the one where he
Yeah.
talks about the animal Super Bowl or the animal football game? Big animals versus little animals.
Yes,
It's so
yes,
good.
yes, 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 yes. Dude,
Oh, such a good.
so this is crazy. It was my first
Oh shit, you
summer.
froze. Oh, it was your first
First
summer.
summer
Okay.
when I listened. It was my first summer when I listened every day to this tape. It was so good. However, even for summer, not knowing what cleats are,
Oh,
I did not know why people were laughing at the end when the caterpillar or whoever it
yeah.
was couldn't put
The
the cleats on. They
millipede.
were
Yeah, yeah.
pulling the
The
millipede. They were
lacing their
putting the
cleats. Yeah.
cleats on.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
so
and
good.
now like this year, a couple years ago, a couple years ago, I was like, oh, that makes sense now. Why it was so funny.
It's so good, dude.
Yeah,
Favorite HQ.
testosterone HQ. Team, Vice, and Honza. Four of us living together, sleeping on the floor, have being in a duplex. Absolutely incredible HQ. Best HQ ever.
You and Tim lived together?
I was his well, dude.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Team is my boy. I love Team. Team,
Yeah.
one peace, one
Tim's
love.
great. It was nice to
Yeah.
hang out with him at your house to get to know him a little better because I hadn't really known him besides when we did the episode. I don't, so that was nice.
He's
Um,
my little brother for sure. He's great.
yeah,
Love
he's
Team.
a little Arsenal fan. What a guy. All right. Favorite product to sell or tack on?
Honors book
Yeah, the honors is fun.
or
Okay.
Explore and Learns.
Ooh, I'm gonna skip this one because this is favorite off schedule story, but I feel like that's a whole story in its own, so I'm gonna skip that. Best sales day. Now this could be in units or just your favorite day that you ever sold books. Maybe you sold zero, but it was a great day for other reasons. But what was your best sales day?
Ah, that's a good question. My best day was, I think, close to 300 units, 280, I don't know, somewhere around there. But it's not my most favorite day though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, what's your favorite book day?
Um, that's a difficult question. I don't know. Probably the one I remember the most is probably that day that I already told you about when I got food poisoned and it clicked. That day when it clicked, it was like, this feels amazing.
Yeah, the magical day. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Oh, we didn't even get to the Hornets story though, too. All right, all right.
yeah.
Favorite breakfast spot.
Well, yeah, I would give it that breakfast spot in Colorado Springs where we had it together with the boys, with Team Vice and Honza. That was
Okay.
great. The whole place knew us. The waitress, we were friends. Paul, I believe her name was. We gave her like a signed cookbook with our names, and it was
Nice.
like one of those diners when you have locals that are in their 60s and 70s. Like when you step in, it smells like death,
Yeah.
So like, but the people, those guys are awesome. Like people who are a little bit older, I love hanging out with those people because they give you such a bigger and nicer perspective on life.
Yep.
And when we were doing exacts, those guys were having a blast. They were watching us through the windows. They're like, "You guys are crazy, and we love it." This
Yeah.
is
You
awesome.
gotta love those, man. It's the best.
Yeah,
Everybody has that experience. I mean, a lot, or at least a lot of people have had that experience. And we all know,
absolutely.
we all each have that one place where like that was a great place.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last one before we get into the final story is best follow day. Whether you followed or someone followed you.
It is related to one of the titles in the
Okay, so
in the
does that mean is
it's a
this the
bit is
story?
it it's a business story for sure. That's for sure a business story.
Oh, is it the first one you typed out here?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now let's pick a
Yeah,
different
but
story.
I'm gonna pick a story that um, I'm actually gonna pick this story for with Tim because majority of people know Tim, and I love this guy to death. And so prior, that was fifth
Hold
summer
on.
when I worked.
Is this gonna get him in trouble?
No,
Oh, okay,
no,
okay,
no, no,
okay.
no, no,
You never
no,
know.
no, 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 no. I hope not. But basically, it was really funny because with him, he is a worker. He's a hustler. This guy's an animal. Tim is such a hardworking, super nice guy. I don't know anyone in the world who will not like Tim. They will definitely not like me, but not liking Tim, you need to be an absolute jerk because he's an amazing dude. So we've been working. So like I've been his well. He was living with me. I was coaching him and stuff. So like the whole package from day one. And first week, he's the best in effort, worst in results, right? Second week, best in effort, worst in results. Exactly like my story my first summer. Third week, I was like, I'm going to take you, buddy, for follow. So I'm taking him to follow me. Out of 12 summers, knocking on wood, I never had one dog biting me. One, not one. Even though I was terrified of dogs before my first summer. And
Oh, pause real quick. Is that a European thing, like an Eastern European thing, to be afraid of big dogs?
yeah, because our dogs in our countries are not friendly. Like they're the dogs. The reason why people have dogs in our countries is to protect their properties,
I
right?
see. Okay,
So
because
those
when
dogs are
Peter,
not
because
trained to
Peter came
lick.
to my house and have two pit bulls, and he was, I didn't see it, but my wife was like, before he realized that they're super nice, he was like uneasy, and I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, that's super interesting. Okay,
yeah, and especially pit bulls, Rottweilers, Dobermans. Those are the dogs that are
yeah,
trained to eat people.
I got a 75 pounder, and I mean, she's cut. She's got
Yeah,
muscles. And you're like, how did you get these from here? Like,
yeah,
damn.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
So
okay, so sorry. So dogs,
yeah,
you hadn't
for
been bit.
working with Tim and this guy, I never been bitten by a dog, right? So I was like, he's like, should I protect myself? I was like, yeah, just have your book bag in front of you just in case, you never know what happens, type of deal. So we started working, and dude, it was like I have not had a 0 day for the past 4 summer or 3 summers, right? That day when he went out to follow me was a 0 day. On top of that, I did my 30 demos. We worked our hours. I remember knocking on this door. It was a nice wooden house, type of like a cabin style type of deal. And I was working in Black Forest in Colorado Springs area. Gorgeous place. However, the place where I was working, it was burned. It was like a huge wildfire, and it burned like over, I don't know, 750 houses. I don't remember the number, but like a lot of houses. So the houses were rebuilt, and it was one of those places that was rebuilt like it's a brand new, made out of wood, really nice house. So the lady opens the door, and there is this German Shepherd that literally sneaks out, runs right past by me, and bites that juicy Kazakhstan right in his ass. And it's not like it was a really solid bite. It was like more like a, let me taste that little Kazakh meat type of deal. Like let me have a bite of that thingy.
That Kazaki meat just ow. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Type of deal. And the lady is like, I'm so sorry. So Tim was walking for the entire day with his butt, like the shorts were like ripped apart. I was like, Tim, I'm sorry, we cannot go to the HQ. I don't have any spare shorts in my car, and we're not going to Walmart. So it's okay. We're gonna make it work. So, so we worked for the whole day with his butt, part of his cheek sticking outside. And then it was raining the whole day. And I remember this Indian lady that we sat down and we literally did the mute story from Mark Rouse Advanced Sales.
Yes.
Literally, we did the exact same thing. And she did she buy or not? Oh no, I was getting pre-approach, and she told me where to go and where not to go. And as we leave, Tim is like, "See you later," and she's like, "Bye." It was clear, but it was really funny that, yeah.
Oh, dude, that's a good
Since
holiday.
since we're on that topic, another holiday that I actually do remember very vividly. There was a girl that I was working with. This girl, it was like some weirdest crap was happening when I was working with her. So like when she would come to follow me, I would have always really good days, but some weird ass things were happening. She was obviously blonde, pretty, all this good jazz. I remember sitting down with this mom, with this family, and like you have those parents that that they're cool and you can they can talk anything to you or with you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you gotta love
So
them.
we're sitting down. To be honest, I'm not gonna describe the whole situation, but um, there was in my head there is no way this family people are buying books. Just there is no way. Like, anyways, and I start closing, and they apparently buying books, and they're buying a lot of books, and I was like, holy shit! And as we do that, the mom is like, so why is she not speaking? I was like, her English is bad and da 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 da. But in that case, I was like, hey, you know what? This is my sister, like second cousin. She's a little bit retarded. Like she's a little bit like not retired, but like she is
Special.
special. Yes, she's special, and her girlfriend broke up with her, right?
Oh,
So this mom is like, oh my gosh, you poor thing. So this mom went on, keep on giving her a psychiatry or psychology, psycholo- psychiatrist slash psychologist session for the next 20 minutes,
just
right?
giving
You'll be
her all this,
fine.
this
You'll be
PCs.
fine. Your girlfriend is gonna regret that. And she's a girl, right? So it's not like she's talking about a guy. She's talking to a girl about a different girl. So she went on and on and on, and that was hilarious, man. This
Bro,
girl was
she
so
must have been like, what the
so.
fuck, Bush?
Yeah. Oh, she hated me. The moment I said it, she gave me like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, but I was with my people when they came to follow. We had a blast. I've been messing with them so much. It's ridiculous.
Oh, you have
Oh,
to.
last one before we go, because that would be a good way to close the thing. I have Eva Matyaskova. Eva, love you. She is the girl that actually recruited him, and that I worked with like for the next 4 years after that. She is phenomenal. Great girl, good friends, and that was that Colorado Springs summer. She's like, Pasha, can I come and follow you? I need to see something. So I was like, sure. So she comes to follow me. She's like, I want to see how you keep that positive attitude throughout the day. Dude, my self-talk for the half a day was like, where are the nag people? I need to find somebody nag. I was dying to have somebody who is good behind me so I can mess with them. I was like, come on, where are you? I was like, I'm gonna find people who will be super negative. No soliciting sign on the door was an invitation for me to knock on the door. Like, not knock, but bang on the door so people get pissed.
Yeah.
And no, everybody was nice. I'm like, what the heck? So finally, I find this no soliciting door. I'm coming to the door, knocking on the door, And the lady she screams from inside, "Don't you see what it says on the door?" And I'm like, "Yes." And I knock again. I was like, "Hello?" Playing stupid that I don't hear what she says, right? She rushes through the door, opens the door. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Don't you see what it says? No soliciting means none of you should knock on the door." And I was like, and here's what I do. I was like, "Ma'am, I'm guessing that means that nobody should knock on your door, right?" She's like, "You're damn fucking right." It's like, "And you hate all the salespeople that knocking on your door, right?" She's like, "Yes, and you're one of them." I was like, "And oh yeah, I'm one of them, right?" She's like, "Yeah." And it's like, "Even if I sell best books in the world, you will not be interested." She's like, "Absolutely not, especially from you." And I turned around, and Eva is behind me, right? And I was like, "Eva," I was like, "Excuse me, ma'am, this is my manager." I turned around and I was like, "Eva, I told you that this is not for me. I don't want to do that. People don't need books. I'm I'm disturbing people. I quit." And I literally throw my folder on the ground and I walk by. So the lady's in the door. Eva is facing her. My folder is somewhere around, and it's just them two standing in front of each other. And I just walk away, dude.
Oh shit! What did she do?
Eva was speechless. She couldn't say shit, dude. She just said sorry, picked up our crap, and went away. That lady was pissed, but that was so funny. Yeah.
Was she mad at you? Was he even mad at you?
Oh yeah, dude. The moment we got in the car, she just started kicking my ass, but we were laughing our asses off. It's like, that's how you keep your head in it up.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
Oh shit! This has been a full episode, bro. I told you you'd have
Good.
fun.
Oh,
Okay.
always. No question
Okay.
about that.
Next up, Georgie. Where the hell are you? We should release these as a series where it's like you and then I gotta get Georgie on here and then we should do one together. Like boom, boom, boom. I need when next time you're on here when we were just I need mom killed the husband.
Hmm.
I need feet, whatever the hell that means. You had some tire issues and some hurricane issues your second
No,
summer.
dude, feet. I told you I misspelled this. Feet on
Oh
the dick
yes,
under the
yeah,
table. Yeah.
yeah. I need that one. And then I
Okay.
need and then later I need some Russian curse words. So we have a 2.0 coming for Pasha in the future, but for now, my guy, this has been a blast. I haven't had a story filled episode in a while, and it's so good. It's so good, man. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you had fun. Thank you for the compliments, and bro, I can't wait to see you again. Come see me in Portland. I miss you.
Yes, sir. Thanks,
Talk to you.
brother.
Yeah, say hi to
Brother.
Lucy for me. Hey guys,
Will
this is
do.
Andres Gamboa. We'll catch you on the next episode of Ponytails. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you guys follow us, sign up for Bizzler, do all that stuff. Peace out, everybody. Bye.